Hello and welcome everyone to the Top 32 main event Virtual Drift Championship Round 2 at Wall Stadium, New Jersey. My name is Craig and with me as always, once again, Tanner. What's going on, dude?
Aw, man, so excited for these battles. Qualifying was so intense, so close. I believe the cutoff point was 80 points.
I think it was actually 89. We can pull those up onto the screen real quick. You see there Alan Hines qualifying first with that 95.7, and then we'll skip all the way down to the 32nd position, Uniwarnen, which will be our first battle of the day, with an 89. So 89 was the cutoff today out of 64 drivers.
Yeah, just a crazy tight qualifying, and everyone, again, just like round one, bringing their A game, not leaving any cards on the table, just letting the cars do the talking, and it's been an awesome day so far.
Absolutely, and we'll go over these general rules for the tandem battles. Drivers are placed into a standard bracket that we did actually post in the chat if you want to go and follow along with that. Single elimination battles, and they'll switch positions, so that first higher qualifying driver will lead first, and then they will switch off. Lead car goals: run a close to 100-point qualifying run as possible, just like we saw the drivers do in qualifying earlier today, and no compromising that line, angle, or impact to get away from that chase driver. Basically just trying to be as fast as you possibly can, and sacrifice an angle and line to do so is something the judges definitely do not want to see from that lead car. And moving on into the chase driver goals: maintain close proximity to the lead driver while mimicking the lead driver's transition and line, and don't cause any unnecessary contact. And what we'll pull up now is that line map. Here you see the small decel zone there on entry. Those lead drivers need to get up to that wall as quick as possible, drop down off the bank using that midline, grabbing that inside clip. Then you have the next small decel zone coming into outside zone 2. You see there clip 3 on the screen, and then diving across the middle of the course in a very small decel zone at clip 5. You know, staying on throttle through there, driving in for the inside clip, and then finishing wide is that lead driver. Chase driver's job is to follow that driver through the course. And again, they don't want to see that unnecessary contact or pushing the lead car around or, you know, any funny business.
No funny business at all. We want nice, clean battles today, and I'm sure we're going to get them.
Absolutely. This is going to be super exciting, especially the way the drivers were so close in qualifying and those scores. Even between this, number one qualifier, Alan Hines, and Yuna. Yuna showed that he was super smooth through the course in that big BMW that he's wheeling around. So, Alan still has his work cut out for him, I think, here in that top 32 battle.
Yeah, I don't think, as much as we say, Alan qualified first, which is really awesome, but the way these guys are driving, you got to be on your toes. You can't sit back and relax. You have to be on it and picture it as if it was your number one rival in the championship every time.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only a couple of points difference between Alan qualifying first and Yuna qualifying all the way down to 31st. But we'll see if it stays the same way going into the battles. I believe last call from the judges have been made, so last and final practice runs. And then we're bringing Mr. Alan Hines and Yuna Warren to the line.
So here they are at the line, Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15 and Yuna Warren in that super dry BMW. And off they go to start our first battle of the top 32. Huge flick entry by both drivers as Alan puts it up on the wall, but Yuna is giving them no room to breathe as they transition down off of that hill, bumper to bumper as they come into that outer zone, staying on that white line. Alan keeping the car exactly where it needs to be, but Yuna giving them no room to breathe as they transition now into that touch and go and get ready. Look at that, door to door, wheel to wheel as they come across that line and finish out the first run of the top 32.
Yeah, what a start here to top 32. Now, Alan with a very clean lead run out front, just running that wall. But as you said, through the entire run, Yuna stays with him in that big BMW, jumping back onto the door after that transition, staying with him through outside zone 2, follows him right through the center of the course as well, does transition a little bit late but hangs on to it, gives Alan a little tap there across the inside clip, and they finish it out.
What an unreal start to this whole battle. Just like we were saying, you can't let up. You can't treat them as, oh, they qualified 32, they're not that good. It's anyone's game. And, Alan's going to have to put on a really good chase run as they get going now with Yuna Warren out front in the BMW. Alan Hines behind in that S15 as we see them initiate in. Yuna is perfectly high up on that bank. Alan Hines right there on the door, though, as he cuts the line a little bit there to keep with Yuna as they come into that outside zone. Coming through it now, door to door again is Alan Hines on the door of Yuna Warren. And wow, are they close as they transition into that touch and go. And look at there, the pressure that Alan is putting on Yuna as they come across that line.
Yeah, really put it on him again here in the chase position as well. Yuna throwing it in very high up on the bank and rides it very well. Comes down off it very smooth. Alan's right there with him on the bumper, maybe even giving him a little rub as they come into that second outside zone. Alan again staying right there with that big BMW across the inside clip. Smooth transition through the middle, out to the touch and go, and they tuck back in for that inside clip, finishing out that run.
If this is the battles we're getting all day, imagine the finals.
And look at there, Alan Hines will move on and get the win. We'll hear from Chris here in just a second on that decision.
Alan Hines takes the win there. The lead that Alan put down in that first run was, honestly, I felt that was better than his qualifying run. That was stupendous as a lead run. It really was. Full marks to Una. Does a really solid job chasing it, but for me, just from the sheer strength of that lead run, I did give Alan a 6-4 advantage coming off that first run. Then on the reverse of that, Una does a really nice solid little lead line himself, but it just can't match just the style and just everything that Alan brought to that lead run. And then in the reverse of that, Alan does just keep his nose in front the whole time and just does more than enough there just to take the advantage both runs and take the win. That was a clinic of lead driving though. That was incredible.
It certainly was. What a great lead run from Alan, and very good job from Una in that chase position, as well as his lead. He really came out and put one on Alan Hines there.
Yeah, unreal. Alan Hines, feeling the pressure from Una, but now advancing to the top 16 as we just have our next battle coming up here with T-Com Poleski. How can I not mess up that name today? Wow. And Max Tingier. So T-Con in that D-Max S14. And Max in that beautiful blue S15 as they get off the line to start our second battle of the top 32. And initiating in, T-Con's way up on that bank already. Max taking that lower line, trying to keep that proximity to the speed of T-Con Poleski. Now they transition into the outer zone, and now the gap is starting to close a little bit there. Max is starting to make his ground on T-Con as they transition to the touch and go. Right there to the door is Max, riding up on the door a little bit of T-Con as they come across the line.
Yeah, he certainly does. Going back to the replay here, T-Con out front, getting away from Maxime a little bit on the run-up and initiation, but Max doing a fantastic job to reeling back in on a little bit lower line on the bank. But there you see right on the bumper and then onto the door of T-Con Poleski in the lead position. Stays with him through outside zone 2 and across this inside clip. Backs off a little bit here for the touch and go, and then reels him right back in and rubs him across this finish line. Did a great job and good start to this battle here.
Yeah, Maxime is going to have a really solid lead run here, so it really comes down to him. And having T-Con behind you, you know he's going to be close as they're already on his bumper as they initiate in. Nice and high up is Max, but look at T-Con already putting on the pressure off the bank as they transition down the hill now. T-Con giving a bit of room. Now into the outer zone on that white line is Max, but there's T-Con wheel to wheel with Max as they come into that transition to the touch and go. And look at the proximity, the pressure that T-Con is putting on Max, almost pushing him through that line.
Yeah, he certainly did here. Going back to the replay, Max now out front. T-Con chasing him down, and T-Con does just that. Jumps onto the door right after initiation, stays with him across that big bank, down off of it, drops back just a little bit, and then right back on it into outside zone 2, and stays with him through the remainder of the course. A little bumps here and there before they cross that inner clip, and then to the touch and go. Really nice lead out front by Max, but the pressure that T-Con applies here in this chase position is just wild.
T-Con doing what T-Con does. He's always been a very strong driver, whether he's lead or chase, but when he's chase, he'll show you exactly where you're going slow because he'll be right there on your door pushing you to go a little quicker.
He certainly will. Waiting on those 3 judges. Slide him left for T-Con Poleski, right for Maxime. And there they go, all 3 to T-Con Poleski. He will take the win and move on to top 16 where he'll face Alan Hines. We'll get a rematch of the
Okay,
finals
so,
in top 16. Here's
Ticon
Ed.
takes the win for us there. He had a decent lead run, but we wanted to point out that Maxim's lead run was definitely slightly better. It was, very close margins. He had a better first corner and also better at the end of the run. But the real thing that really swayed it for us was the chase to chase. Maxim had a really good chuck into the second outside zone, getting onto Ticon's door after a kind of lackluster start, and then but then you compare that to Ticon, who was just on it the whole way, and also managed to just climb up on the door of Maxim a little bit more aggressively, which is what we like to see. So yeah, Ticon gets the win.
Very good explanation from Ed there. He'll move on to face, again, Alan Hines. Next up, Pontus Jacobson and Brian Garcia.
Yeah, next, another great battle that will be had here. Pontus Jacobson in his FD RX-7 and Brian Garcia in that beautiful Aston Martin. We just wait for the judges to give their 3, 2, 1 countdown. And off they go. Pontus getting off the line good, but the speed of that DB9, he's already right up on him as they initiate onto the bank. Nice and high is Pontus, but Brian right on that quarter panel of the FD as they transition into this outside zone. Brian going in a little too deep. Pontus putting the car right where it needs to be on that white line. There's Brian putting the pressure on him through this transition as they get into that touch and go. Brian's starting to catch back up now as Pontus really grabs that inside clip and crosses the line.
Yeah, really nice couple of dives here from Brian in the chase position, but again, Pontus with a fantastic lead here. Entering in very high on the bank. Brian's right there with him, sacrificing just a little bit of angle there in the chase. Drops off a bit there, but then that big dive in. He does go a little bit wide, but holds it together, stays with Pontus through that outside zone. 2 transitions with him across the track and reels him right back in with that awesome dive once again in that chase position.
And now we're going to flip them around, let them do battle once more. Now with Brian Garcia out front in that Aston Martin, Pontus Jacobson giving chase. Brian gets away very clean. Up the bank they come, initiating in nice and high on the bank is Brian Garcia. Jacob giving a little bit of space. They come down the hill. Now when they transition into this outside zone, the proximity has been made and they are almost on the door of Brian Garcia as they transition again to the touch and go. And yeah, Pontus is not letting him go. Not easy, not without a fight as they cross the line.
Yeah, absolutely. As we go back to the replay here, Brian out front this time in his Aston Martin. Pontus on a little bit low line there around the bank, trying to stay with Brian. Falls off a little bit there, almost rubs the bumper on transition, coming into outside zone 2. And here's where he'll stay with Brian throughout that zone, grabbing the inside clip with him. And a big dive again from Pontus. He does wash wide, but hangs on to it and finishes the course with Brian. Here we go, slide him left for Pontus and right for Brian. Pontus in that FD RX-7, Brian in that Aston Martin. Judges maybe looking over replays. Maybe go one more time here as both runs were super even.
I mean, and just seeing how tight qualifying was and how tight these last few battles have been, I'm expecting a lot of one more times today.
Definitely. I mean, those first 2 battles right out of the gate, very, very, very close. You have Alan and Tikon moving on to face each other. Here's one more time, two one more time, so they're going one more time. All three judges choosing one more time. We'll get to see them again face
One
off.
more time, please. Lead to lead, we did feel that Pontus was slightly cleaner overall, with Brian having sort of an angle up into clip 3 and then also decelled a little bit before clip 5. Pontus does really well to deal with that. But on the reverse of that, chase to chase, we felt it was really, really close and difficult to pick apart. So we'd just like to see that one more time and see it a bit cleaner.
Hey, and we called it. They're going one more time. So we'll bring them right back to the line. No waiting. Basically, a change of tires is just a reset back to pits. And then they come right on back out and get to it once again.
I think Pontus accidentally hit the wrong button and exited out from the server, so he's
Oh no!
Yeah, it was like they called the one more time, and then it was just like disconnected. Oh, but he's back now. We're good.
Yeah, I can hear the rotary singing away back there.
And Pontus really gonna have to push that rotary engine to its limits. Keep Brian Garcia at bay. Brian Garcia the same. Got a stake right with Pontus there. So Pontus in the FD RX-7, Brian Garcia in that Aston Martin for their one more time battle. Here they go. Pontus out front getting a good start. Brian already on the back bumper as they initiate in. Nice and high from Pontus, keeping it nice and tight. But Brian already on the door as he backs off a little bit for the transition. Now into the outer zone as they're on the white line. Brian is right on the door of Pontus as they transition back now to the touch and go. Get set up for the final inside clip before the finish line. The pressure comes on from Brian as they come across that line.
Yeah, Brian really going after it even a little more here in the chase position. Pontus doing a fantastic job in lead as well, riding that wall up top, dropping down off very smooth and grabbing that inside clip. Here we see Brian do a little bit better job this time and not wash wide and stay with Pontus throughout that whole outside zone. Transitioning with him here as well. Falls off a little bit and then dives back in for the inside clip. And they finish out their run.
Yeah, now back at the start line, they are Brian Garcia now in that lead lane, which is closer to the Virtual Drift Champion Grip Royal sign. And Pontus down below in that FDRX7 as off they go for the second half of their one more time battle. Right up against the guardrail is Brian Garcia, but right behind him is the FD of Pontus as they transition into that outer zone. A little deep goes Brian, but saves it. But look at that, right on his wheel, the door was Pontus as he gives a little bit of room for the next transition here as they hit that touch and go. And right there, a little bumper touch from Pontus as they come across that line.
Yeah, we might just have another one more time again as we go back to the replay here. Brian out front this time, entering in super high up on the bank right there on that rail. Pontus following him through the course this time, very high up. Wasn't sacrificing too much angle, stays with him through transition and back onto the door, giving him a little rubs there through outside zone 2. Down across inside clip, stays with him through the transition there and back up onto the door. Across that final inside clip and across the finish line. So again, slide left for Pontus in that RX-7 and right for Brian in his Aston Martin. One for Pontus, and there it is. Pontus gets the win.
Pontus takes the win on that occasion. Lead to lead, we will note that Brian does have a slightly better bank line than Pontus does, but besides that, the rest of the runs are very, very similar. And then chase to chase, Pontus is just that little bit more aggressive throughout the run and just goes to the door that little bit more. So overall, Pontus just takes the win.
There it is from head judge Chris. Pontus taking the win, moving on into the top 16 where he'll face off against the winner of our next battle.
And our next battle is nothing to shake a stick at either. You know, we've got Connor Shanahan and Raman Katastrenka. And Raman has been on fire through his qualifying rounds, but Connor Shanahan has already proven that he is a force to be reckoned with. As they line up now, Connor Shanahan in that Red Bull S15 and Raman Katastrenka in that Penguin BMW. And off they go to start their battle. Connor Shanahan out front, flick entry into the bank as he tries to get it up at the top there. Going to a nice line, just grazing the rear bumper as they come down. But Raman getting all over the door of Connor Shanahan, almost not leaving him enough room to transition into this outer zone as Katastrenka starts to reel him in as they transition for the final touch and go. And a hit there, another hit from Katastrenka against Connor Shanahan right before they come across the line.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of that unnecessary contact that we were talking about before the start of top 32. You see Connor enter in very high up on the bank, stays up there very well. Raman doing a very good job in that chase position too, sacrificing just a little bit of line lower on the bank, drops in to formation here for the outside zone 2, stays with him all right, backs off a little bit, and there we see him be a little over aggressive on a little bit tighter line, hits him twice. Connor's not able to grab that inside clip, so we'll switch him up and Connor will now chase Raman down.
He sure will, as you see Raman there in that lead lane in that Penguin BMW, and Connor Shanahan giving chase in that Red Bull S15. Now, initiating in, they come. Up high on the bank is Katastrenka, but starting to shallow out. But nothing for Connor Shanahan as he sticks on the door of Raman as they transition into this outside zone. And closing the door is Connor Shanahan as he leaves a little bit of room there for the transition that's coming up into this outside touch and go. As now they get on the power, and now the pressure will come on from Connor as he starts to get right up to that quarter panel of Raman while they cross the line.
Yeah, he sure did. Connor really applying the pressure here in the chase position. Drops right in onto the door of Raman out front. Just right on the bumper through these 2 transitions coming off the bank, and then stays with him through outside zone 2. Backs off a little bit here, lets Raman transition, and then jumps right back onto the door as they come into this last and final inside clip. Just very smooth chase driving from Connor. And there it is, all 3 going for Connor Shanahan. He'll get the win and face off against Pontus Jacobson in the top 16.
Connor takes the win. Obviously, lead to lead. Connor is just that bit higher on the bank overall. Unfortunately, in the chase, Raman causes contact, which is his own fault. So it takes the disadvantage off that run. And the reverse of that, Raman does pretty solid lead, and Connor just sticks within half a car to a car length the whole way and just does more than enough there to take the win and advance through to the top 16.
There it is. Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
No. All right, we're doing this. So Connor Shanahan getting the win over Raman Katastrenka, but very good runs by both drivers as Connor Shanahan will now go to see Pontus Jacobson in the top 16.
Yeah, and that's our first group out of the way, our first 4 battles. Alan Hines taking the win over Yuna Warnen, moving on to face Tikon Poleski, where he beat Maxime Kingi. And then Pontus Jacobson taking the win over Brian Garcia, and he'll face Connor Shanahan, who took the win over Raman in the top 16. So up next, Augusto Ferreira and Peter Vincic.
Yeah, this should be quite an interesting battle. Augusto very well tuned to virtual drifting and the virtual drift championships, and Peter Visic, whose first time out is today.
Looks like judges are going to let the drivers get a couple of runs in before we start things off in the second group of top 32. of time to thank Grip Roll for supplying the trophy this season. Still can't wait to show that thing off and show what the drivers are battling for this season. And then, of course, Joka Design for making this track and many more. He helped out with Atlanta as well. Helps a bunch of drivers with their cars. Also did OSW that we've used in previous seasons. Very talented 3D artist, and we appreciate all his work.
Yeah, and this track, I just love it. It's so much fun to drive, and he did such a great job on it. Right down to the little cracks in the pavement.
Yeah, he really went all out on this version, and it's just even more realistic than it ever has been. And you know, driving it before, it felt super realistic, but there's certainly a difference with this one, for sure. I believe we're bringing that battle to the grid. There's Augusto now. Here comes Peter right behind him.
So, our battle is here. Augusto Ferreira in that S15 and Peter Visic in the Wardhouse S15. Don't get them confused, people. We got Augusto out front, nice and high, up on the bank. Visic trying to get up on the door of Augusto, playing it a little safe as they transition into the outside zone. And there's the pressure from Visic as Augusto is doing an amazing lead run as they transition into that outer touch and go. A good job there from both drivers. And look at that, Visic just putting the car right where it needs to be. Whew.
Yeah, Peter really chasing him down here in that chase position. We go back to the replay. Augusto settles in nice to the bank. Peter sacrifices just a little bit of angle there to stay with Augusto, but he does just that. A very nice transition by both the drivers coming into outside zone 2, and Peter stays right with him. Stays on the bumper through that transition as well. Dives a little bit to the inside, but he does everything he needs to do to stay in that pocket, in that chase position.
Yeah, very experienced driver on track, and now showing he's just as good off track as now Peter Visic is in the lead position there, and Augusto Ferreira will give chase. And off they go. Peter Visic out front getting a good launch as Augusto Ferreira is getting right up behind him as they initiate in onto that bank. Nice and high is Peter Visic. A lot more comfortable as he looked from qualifying as they transition into that outer zone. Right on the white line is Peter Visic, but Augusto Ferreira right there on the door as they get ready to transition to the touch and go. Now Augusto's starting to show that pressure and get right up to the door of Peter Visic as they cross across that line.
Yeah, go ahead, Augusto in that chase position. We go back to the replay here. Peter enters in, a lot more comfortable, as you said, up on the bank there, getting to it, down off, very smooth across the first inside clip, and transition into the outside zone too. You have a little bobble there in the chase position by Augusto, but he gets it right back together and back up onto the door of Peter. Stays with him through the transition as well, and across this final inside clip and finish line. And look at there, Augusto Ferreira is going to get the win over Peter Visic and move on into the top 16.
Okie dokie, so on that one, Augusto takes the win. It was basically mostly down to chase. Lead to lead was pretty decent from both drivers. Augusto had a slight advantage there, but it's pretty good. But chase to chase, Peter had a bit of an issue on the bank on the first corner, and also all the way around was just not quite matching Augusto's angle, which Augusto just did a better job of that all the way through, and also was really aggressive on that last corner. That was really good to see. So yeah, he took an advantage there as well. So yeah, Augusto takes the win.
Yeah, you can see the excitement from Augusto there, doing some celebratory donuts. We certainly appreciate Peter coming by, giving the Virtual Drift Championship a try. I'm sure we'll see him again for another round.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be back and maybe try and go for a title or even a win from the Virtual Drift Championships. But we have to see who's going to be going up against Augusto Ferreira in the top 16, as we have Steven Hatcher in his RX-8 and Liz Amazou in his A90 Supra as they initiate in. High up on the bank is Steven Hatcher with all of that angle as they come down the hill. So transitioning now to the outer zone. A little bit of a bumper tap there from Lizam in that A90 as Steven's keeping it right dialed in on the line. Now the final transition to the touch and go, as now the pressure's being put on Steven as a little bit of a touch happens there, and Lizam has back out of it and tries to catch up for the end.
Yeah, another good start to a top 32 battle here as we go to the replay. Steven out front in his RX-8, running the wall here all the way around. Drops off when he needs to and very smooth across that inner clip. Lizam doing what he needs to do here now in this outside zone too. Staying with Steven pretty well here. Down across the inside clip, right on the bumper through the transition and out to the touch and go. Dives in a little bit here, giving Steven just a tap. And across that finish line they both go.
And now they're back at the line waiting for that call. Liz Amazou in that A90 June Supra and Steven Hatcher in that RX-8. And off they go. A good start from both drivers as they initiate into this first bank and up on the wall. Lizam tries to go. Steven Hatcher driving too hard into it though, bouncing off the wall but keeping the drift going as Lizam stays out front and tries to keep the car on that white line. It's up to Hatcher now to keep that proximity and make up for the earlier mistake as Lizam transitions into this final touch and go. And look at them side by side, door to door, all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, they certainly were. We'll go back to the replay here. Lizam out front in his A90 Supra this time. Enters in fairly high, ends up working himself out there, and then Steven hits the wall, straightens up a bit, but gets right back into it. Didn't really seem to affect him too much other than, it's going to be unfortunate with the straight, and we'll have to wait and see what the judges, how harsh they are on it. It's definitely a big mistake in that chase position, but he puts it right back onto the door of Lizam. And there it is. Slide him right for Lizam. He will move on into the top 16 to face Augusto.
Okay, Lizam takes that. Unfortunately, that one comes down to a little mistake made by Steven in his chase. Just goes that bit too deep toward the end of the bank and just pings off the bank. Does a really good job to hold on to it and continue and get back into the fight, but at that point, unfortunately, the advantage has gone to Lizam, and at that point, Lizam walks away with the win. Lead to lead, though, they're both very similar. Lizam is a bit low on the bank. On the reverse of that, Steven goes a bit deep coming into that last section off clip 5. So sort of mistake to mistake in lead, and then unfortunately, it's just that mistake from Steven in the chase.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate one to watch. I'm sure we'll see Steven again for another round in that RX-8. Next up, Reese Tatterson and Luciano Carnero.
Yeah, Reese Tatterson in the second driver for the Pro Drift Academy in that S15. Luciano Carnero in that Link ECU 240SX. They initiate in. Reese already really high up on that bank. Luciano, though, mimicking him as they come down in transition for the outside zone. Big angle from Reese Tatterson, but Luciano right there trying to close up that gap and get right on the door, leaving a bit of a room for the transition, scraping bumpers as they transition around to that touch and go. And now for the final inside clip before the line. Woof.
Yeah, another tough start here to a battle. Reese does get a very good start here. A little bit of a gap between him and Luciano, but Luciano closes the door very soon up on that bank. Drops down very smooth, both these drivers. Nice transition by Reese out front, just running that white line all the way around. Luciano reels him in, stays with him here through this transition and into the touch and go as well. Reese just doing a fantastic job in this lead position. Very close to a 100-point run there.
Yeah, what a great chase run though from Luciano, going up against someone like Reese Tatterson, knowing the way he qualified and just being able to bring that fight to him. But now they're flipped around. Luciano Carnero out front, Reese Tatterson giving chase as they initiate up onto that bank, trying to get nice and high up is Luciano, but right there is Reese Tatterson as they transition down the hill through the inside clip, now into the outer zone, a little deep and a little bit of a gap established, but starting to get reeled in again. Look at the proximity from Reese Tatterson. Luciano, though, putting on a very good lead run as they come through that touch and go, and now the real pressure starts to be had from Reese Tatterson as they cross that line.
Yeah, Reese really going after it in that chase position. We go back to the replay. Luciano now out front, looking very, very good in this lead position. Super high up on the bank, drops down, big angle there across the first inside clip, and then throws it in for the outside zone too. There you see Reese staying with him, locked into that angle, transitions with him through the center of this course and out to the touch and go. Luciano going a little bit wide, but reels it right back in for that inside clip.
Yeah, I definitely got to mention like how nice of a lead run that was from Luciano. He did a very good job out front, even with the pressure that Reese was putting on him.
Yeah, he certainly did, and did a fantastic job in chase as well. Here we go. Reese is going to get the win and move on into the top 16.
Okie dokie, so Reese gets the win on that one. We found that lead to lead, Reese had a bit of an advantage, especially Luciano's entry into the bank right at the start. It was a little bit dodgy, sort of got caught up a bit on his handbrake, and Reese did a really good job to stay behind him solidly there. And then Reese also had a slightly better chase on the first half of the course. Luciano did a really good job on the second half of the course, but yeah, that just gives a advantage to Reese throughout the whole thing. So, yep, Reese gets the win.
Certainly does. Congratulations to Reese, moving on into the top 16, and he'll move on to face the battle, or the winner of this battle, our next one. Circus and Hayden Winter.
Yeah, Erica's just getting ready to come to the line now as Hayden Winter just pulling up behind him.
Hayden wasn't, quite into the server yet. He has a limited number of time to get into the server and on the line.
Hopefully he's not having issues like he was earlier in qualifying.
I heard through Discord that he is connecting now, so waiting to see that name pop up on the bottom of our screen.
There he is. He's in now.
There's Ericas coming to the line. I think I'm hearing in the background that Winters is having some more technical difficulties. And if he doesn't hurry up, he will get a 0.
Yeah, he will. Sorry for the lull in action, everybody watching, but thank you for tuning in on this wonderful Saturday afternoon for me, and evening for some, and night for a lot of you.
Oh, I think I heard that Winters is good now and he's on his way to the line. Oh, I hear his car.
And there it is. Now Erica Circus in the BMW and Hayden Winter in that R33 Nissan Skyline. And off they go. Erica Circus out front. Hayden Winter giving chase already on the bumper of Erica's. Erica's nice and high up on that bank with lots of angle as they transition down, but Hayden Winter not giving him barely any room on that transition for the outer zone as they come through it now and get into that inside clip. Transition to the touch and go. Look at the proximity that Hayden is putting onto Erica's as they come through that inside clip and across the line.
Yeah, very good job from Hayden in this chase position here, especially coming off having those technical difficulties. I know that heart was racing before jumping into this battle, and he jumped onto the door of Erica's just after each and every transition, stayed on the bumper with him as well. Erica's does a fantastic job here in the lead, making it rather easy for Hayden to stay with him through the course, and Hayden does just that, almost touching him there across that final inside clip and across that finish line.
Now they're back up to the top of the hill here. Hayden Winter in that R33, ready to give out his lead run. Erica Circus giving chase as they take off and head for the bank. Initiating it is Hayden Winter. A huge entry from Erica Circus to stay up with them as they stay nice and tight to the top of the bank as they transition down for the outer zone. Again, leaving no room as Erica's on that transition. A little bit more distance though than Hayden Winter's chase run as they transition now to that touch and go and get ready to set up for the final inside clip. A gap, huge gap established from Hayden Winter as they cross the line.
Yeah, Hayden did really pull a gap on Erica's at the end of the course there. We're going back to the replay. Hayden this time out front, settles into the bank nice and high. Could have been a little bit higher there, ends up pretty high before coming off. Smooth across the inside clip as well. You see Erica's try and jump onto the door, sacrifice a little bit of that line, trying to keep up with Hayden in his skyline. Very nice on the bumper of Hayden through that transition. Hayden does go a little wide there, but manages to grab the inside clip. And again, pull that gap there before crossing the finish line. There it is. Left for Erica's, right for Hayden Winter. Lot of Hayden Winters in the chat.
If anybody watched the feeder series from last year, you will know one of my favorite sayings was "Winter is coming" with Hayden Winter. And we'll see if he managed to bring the winter today, or if Erica Circus brightened up and melted all the snow.
Yeah, technically this track would be covered in a few feet of snow right now. And look at there, one more time. They're going to go one more time. Erica Circus and Hayden Winter.
One more time, please. We felt that there was just, it was few mistakes there, majoritively from the chase position. Lead to lead, we did feel that Erikas was the slightly cleaner job overall. Hayden obviously running a little bit wide there, coming into clip 3, and then also does run deep off of the top of 5, which we felt did cause a bit of that separation for Erikas coming into that last inside zone. On the reverse of that, we felt Erikas did have the better lead, but obviously also due to that, we did feel that Hayden had a better chase. So overall, we just want to see it tidied up a little bit and just have it one more time, please.
There you have it, and they're coming back to the line very quick this time. Erikas will lead Hayden.
Yeah, so Erica's back out front in that BMW. Hayden Winter in that GRP Nissan Skyline. They wait for the judges to give them the countdown, and off they go for their one more time battle. Bring the fire, boys, as they initiate into that outer bank nice and high, and look at the proximity right away from Hayden Winter as they transition down the hill, getting ready for that outside zone. A little bit of a bumper touch there, not leaving enough room for that transition, but still right on the door. Erica's putting on a great lead run here, though, as they transition to the touch and go. Now the pressure's really on. Right on the wheel and door is Hayden Winter all the way across the line.
Yeah, Hayden really going after it this time in the chase position as we go back to the replay. Erikas out front, entering in. Hayden on a little bit lower line, but works himself back up onto the door of Erikas and really stays with him through this run. Almost giving him a tap there on that back bumper as they transition into the outside zone too. Stays with him throughout. Grabs that inside clip, backs off for the transition, and then right back onto the door of Erikas, maybe giving him a little bit of a tap there, but stays with him across that finish line.
What a unreal run by both these drivers, and now Hayden Winter out front. Erikas is going to be giving chase. Let's see what they can do to finish out their one more time run. Off they go. Initiating in, Hayden Winter out front. Circus already again putting that pressure nice and high up on the bank is Hayden Winter. Erica's right there on the door as they transition and get ready to come. Oh, not leaving enough room. Erica's had to get on the brakes to make sure he didn't make contact with Hayden Winter as they come through that inside clip and transition now to the touch and go. Hayden with a sizable gap, and now the door is closing, and right on the door is Erica's with a little touch as they come across the line again.
Yeah, we could have another one more time here as we go to the replay. Nice initiation by both these drivers. Erikas a little wobble there, but works himself into it. And then there's that very small correction there, having to just jam on the brakes in the chase position as Erikas. Hayden doing a fantastic job in this lead position, getting all the way out there for the touch and go, and then grabbing that last and final inside clip to finish the run.
What an unreal battle between these two.
Yeah, it could come down to that slight mistake in Erikas' chase there, having to jam on the brakes, almost a straighten. I'd say he stayed in drift, but definitely a little bit of a hiccup there. We'll see which way the judges go, because they certainly threw down once again for their one more time battle. And there it is, sliding right for Hayden Winter. He's going to take the win and move on to face Reese Tatterson in the top 16.
Ooh, Reese better watch out because Winter is coming.
So Hayden gets the win there. We felt that Hayden's chase was extremely good. A very good lead from Erikas. Not exceptional, but definitely really chaseable and a great lead. And then coming in to Erikas' chase, he made a mistake coming into 3, which really caused a really bad straighten coming in, so that left a hefty advantage to Hayden, especially considering he had a extremely good chase. It was a really aggressive chase. A couple of things to note though about Hayden's lead. There was a break coming in, like he hit the brakes coming into the bank, and that looked like it choked up Erikas a little bit. And then also coming into 5, he touched the bank on it with his rear tyres, and that definitely saved him a bit with the line that he was taking in. It wasn't an ideal line. So it left his lead a lot weaker than Ericas's, but Ericas's pretty much straightened into the third clip. Just left too much of an advantage for us to ignore. But I just wanted to make those 2 points about Hayden's lead so they can clean those up for the next time.
There it is. Hayden gets the win. Again, moves on to face Reese Tatterson in that top 16. So another group of top 32 down. Next one loading in now, and it'll start off with Victor Alves and Kazuki Fukushi. If drivers will get maybe a couple of practice runs before we kick off the next group.
It's still astonishing just how close all these battles are, and the level of driving that has come in this season of the Virtual Drift Championships is just unmatched to a few of the other years.
Absolutely, drivers have really stepped it up this season, and the competition is insanely tight. I mean, with qualifying earlier, 89 points to get into top 32, that's nuts.
No cards left out on the table by these guys. They gotta bring everything they got every round. And the championships is really anybody's still at this point.
Absolutely, only one round down. Tikon taking home the win for round 1, and Alan Hines right behind him, taking home that second position. But still wide open. Just letting the drivers take a few practice runs after loading into the server. And then we'll line up Victor Alves and Kazuki Fukushi. Victor qualifying second today. Kazuki qualifying 31st, but still only a few points difference between the two.
And only a few points, but also Kazuki's very experienced, so it's going to be a close battle no matter what.
Yeah, he's spent a couple of seasons here in the Virtual Drift Championship, has been in that Celica for the past 2 seasons now, and he does really well in it.
And it's such a beautiful card, too. I love seeing it come out. I mean, it's just a beautiful, beautiful car. I think he had an E86 before that, the Celica.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah.
Before the Celica, he drove a little 8.6.
But here we go. Our battle is here. We have Victor Alves in that D-Max S15 in the lead lane, and Kazuki Fukushi in the Linglong Tires Toyota Celica. And off the line they go. Victor Alves out front. Good initiation by Victor Alves. Nice and high up on the bank, starting to build a gap from Kazuki. But as they come off the bank, Kazuki's starting to build his ground back. Bumper touching as they transition into the outside zone. Victor doing a great job to keep it there, but look at the pressure coming on from Kazuki now, getting right up to the door as they transition to the touch and go. Again, giving them a little love tap there as they come through that inside clip and across the line.
Yeah, he certainly touched him in that chase position a couple of times as we go back to the replay. Very good lead out front by Victor Alves, qualifying second and looking the same here in his top 32 battle. Very good dive from Kazuki here, touching the bumper. Alves does a fantastic job keeping it together as he comes into that outside zone. And Kazuki staying with him through it. Again, on the bumper, through the transition. There's the little tap. Victor doing a fantastic job keeping it together. And across that finish line they go.
now they're switched around. Kazuki Fukushi in the Ling Long tires, Todeslika out front. Victor Alves in that D-Max S15 giving chase. Nice and high up on the bank goes Fukushi. Good angle too, but right there is Victor Alves. They transition through that inside clip and into the outer zone. A little bumper touch there from Victor Alves, just the same as the previous run. Look at the proximity and the power that they are putting on each other as they come through that touch and go. And now Victor really trying to close that door and make sure he's side by side, giving a little headlight flash there at the end.
Yeah, very aggressive from Victor in the chase position this time. Going to the replay here, Kazuki doing a really good job on the bank, staying very high up. Big angle there before transitioning into outside zone 2. Alves does a very good job backing off, letting him do that, and then jumping back onto the door for outside zone 2. Here they come into touch and go. And there's Victor right there with him, doesn't give him a tap, stays back, and across the line they go. Here we go, left for Victor, right for Kazuki. Tons of support for Victor in the chat. And there it is. Victor is going to get the win and move on to the top 16.
Victor takes the win on that occasion. It's just really, that comes down more than anything to the chase position. We just felt that there Victor was just much more aggressive from the word go. Just kept right up on the door and just was aggressive the whole way through. Unfortunately, Kazuki just couldn't quite keep up through the bank line with Victor, which caused separation, and then from there had to make a dive to catch up. Does well, catches up by 3, but unfortunately at that point, on the reverse run, Victor was already well within that same proximity, so just much cleaner chase overall.
Yeah, great chase by Victor, and that's going to move him on into the top 16 to face the winner of our next battle.
Yeah, our next battle here is Christoph Desidon in that S15 and Adriel Mikado in his, I think that's an S14, right?
15.
Yeah, it is 15. 2 15s out there. The red one of Christoph Desidon out front, the blue one of Adriel Mikado giving chase. Nice and high up on the bank is Christoph, but look at the pressure that Victor Alves is putting on to Christoph as they come through that outer zone. Good proximity there as they transition into that touch and go. A little bit of a gap, but now closing the door is Victor Alves, getting right up on him, giving a little push there through that inside zone as they cross the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to the replay of Adriel in the chase position rather than Victor Alves, but Christoph.
Sorry, Adriel.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Very smooth across that inside clip into outside zone 2 as well. Adriel jumping onto the door of Christoph. Very smooth across that inside clip. Drops back to give him room to transition and then jumps right back onto the door, applying the pressure. Maybe even a little tap there before crossing that line.
I do apologize for that. I did mean Adriel Mikado. He is the one out there right now, currently in the lead lane against Christoph Desidon. I was looking at another name of Victor Alves, and that's where the confusion came into it. But now, Adriel Mikado, show us what you got out front in that lead position as he initiates in, gets up nice and high on the bank, but Christoph getting right up on him right out of the gate as they transition down the hill through the inside clip and into the outer zone. Adriel goes a little deep and catches it back, losing a little bit out on that white line. And a huge tap there from Christoph Desidon as they transition into that outside touch and go. And now another tap and another tap from Christoph as Adriel just tries to keep the car in check, and they cross the line.
Yeah, going back to the replay here, a lot of aggression by Christoph in the chase position. Drops down a little early there and a little low, but works himself onto the door of Adriel Mikado. S15 to S15. Here they go into outside zone 2. Adriel goes a little wide, but brings it back on the right side of that white line. Little tap there from Christoph in the chase position on a little bit lower angle, as well as there not really allowing Adriel to grab that inside clip, and they'll finish it out. Here we go, left for Christoph, right for Adriel. And look at there, Adriel's gonna get the win. We had a one more time there from Ed, and then Chris and Matt chose Adriel, so he'll move on into the top 16 to face Victor Alves.
Ooh, at least I won't get them confused.
Okay, so myself and Matt have gone with Adriel taking the win there. For us, really, it's just on the second run there, we felt Adriel has the better lead overall, and there's just that weirdness from Christoph coming off the end of clip 3. He just has this weird sort of semi-straight and gets back together again, then is okay. And then there's a little bit of contact toward the end of the run, but that looked to be more due to connection rather than Christoph being too close. So we sort of didn't really pay too much heed to that. But for us, it was just in that chase, really, just Christoph just has that angle correction coming off 3, and then that just hands enough advantage overall to Adriel. On the reverse of that, I personally felt that was a very, very close run 1, and I'd mark that as 5-5. So as I say, it's the straight from Christoph in chase that does it for me.
And there it is, great explanation from Chris, our head judge.
Yeah, now already on to our next battle for the top 16. Alexander Holstner in his Volvo against Nick Novak in his BMW. And off they go. Alexander Holstner out front, already in that RPM Volvo, sending it high up on the bank. Nick Novak falling short on that bank, trying to catch up with that proximity as they transition into this outside zone. Not as deep into the outside zone as Alexander could be, but Nick Novak has regained all of his proximity, is now on the door of Alexander as he starts to flosh a little wide and now trying to make up that room, but they cross the line and finish out the run.
Yeah, they certainly do. Going back to the replay here, Alexander out front in that awesome Volvo Amazon, sets it in very nicely here. Nick was very high as well, but then just falls off super early, maybe even giving Alexander a little tap and stopping him from transitioning there across that inside clip, but holds it together. Nick jumps back onto the door and stays with him pretty well until here where he does wash a little bit wide and gets caught in that smoke trail.
And now back at the line, switched around, Nick Novak in that lead position, and Alexander giving chase. And off they go. Nick Novak out front, Alexander giving chase, initiating in, high up on the bank is Nick. No mistakes this time on that bank run as he drops down and transitions into that outer zone. But Alexander doing a great job staying with him and mimicking his move as he starts to close the gap as they go through the inside clip and transition to the touch and go. Nick out front still trying to keep Alexander at bay, but Alexander all over him as they cross that line.
Yeah, Alexander really going after it in the chase position towards the latter half of that run as we go to the replay. Nick sets in very nice this time on the bank, stays up there maybe even a little bit too long, drops down off, smooth across the inside clip, and here's where Alexander really starts to jump onto the door of Nick Novak. Staying here with him, drops back, lets Nick transition here through the center of the course into the touch and go. They both go, and Alexander just staying right there on him, rubbing his door as they cross that finish line. Left for Alexander Holstner, right for Nick Novak.
Judges really taking the time deciding it.
Yeah, they certainly are. I can't imagine it going towards Nick for that big mistake in his chase position, but they might have saw something that we didn't. Hats off to Nick either way. First VDC event and qualifying very well. And there they go. Sliding left is Chris and Ed and Matt as well. Alexander Holstner will get the win and move on to top 16.
Okay, so we had to deliberate that one quite a bit just because of the first run. Sorry about that. So yeah, we had to deliberate that one quite a lot. Sorry, Chris keeps interrupting me. Yeah, sorry. Really difficult to deliberate. The second run, though, we definitely felt like that was in Alexander's favour. It was a really good chase. It all came down to what happened at the end of the bank on the first run. We were looking back, seeing if there was contact. We don't think there was contact there. Alexander had almost a straight and coming off the bank, but Nick had basically a really bad bank coming down, really shallow, really far down the bank, almost losing that run. So we basically started to call that one almost a 5-5, almost too close to call, just because it was really hard to see what was going on, and you both looked like you made independent errors, which were both really bad. So yeah, we then saw that there was a advantage from Alexander on the second run, so hence Alexander gets the win.
And there it is, getting the explanation from Ed. And Alexander will get the win and move on.
Yeah, but not a bad showing from Nick Novak for his first time out. Now, our next battle to find out who's going to be going up against Alex Holstner in the top 16 will be Marcus, Mr. Pink Drifter, Lindquist in that 240 SX, or Anthony Serrano in that Lexus RCF.
Answer Julian there in chat. What's going on, Julian? Alexander got the win. He'll face the next winner of this battle between Marcus Lundquist and Anthony Serrano. Sounds like the judges are ready.
Awesome. We can get this battle underway. As off, sleeping at the line a little bit was Marcus. Anthony was ready for it, but the initiation comes in nice up on the bank is Marquis, but Anthony already all over him as they transition into this outer zone. Not as deep as we'd like to see him at the beginning portion, but cleaning it up near the end. But Anthony already trading paint as they transition to the touch and go right on the door, and putting on the pressure from the beginning as Anthony has a little gap there at the end, but then they cross the line and finish out the run.
Yeah, they certainly do. Going back to the replay here, Marcus out front, sets in really nice, very high up on the bank. Anthony right there with him, and the aggression Anthony shows throughout this run, just on bumper, every single transition, follows him through that little bit of a shallow line there coming into outside zone 2, and follows him out to the outside, gives him room for the transition, and then right back onto the door of Marcus as they come across that finish line.
And now reset and back ready to go again. Anthony Serrano in the lead lane. Marcus Lindquist in that chase position. Again, Anthony in that Lexus RCF. And Lindquist in that beautifully pink 240 SX. They initiate, and oh, and a huge hit from Anthony going into the wall, and then Marcus going into Anthony. What a turn there as they continued the run. They thought about shutting it down, but they still continued it out. So now Anthony out front and transitioning into that touch and go, but Marcus keeping good pressure onto Anthony and just staying right there, a good proximity as they come across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly going to the replay here as we see Anthony enter in and then hit the wall there and then get hit by Marcus in the chase position. Anthony does a good job of getting it back together. It does sort of, zero out the run between them two. But good job on them to get it going. Marcus jumping right back onto the door and the bumper of Anthony. But an unfortunate one to see out front going into the wall after that initiation.
Okay, so yeah, kind of obvious on that one. Anthony gets the win. Marcus gets the win. Sorry. Basically because of Anthony's on my mind. Because he basically just sent it into the wall and zeroed that last run. So that handed the win to Marcus.
Yeah, and there it is. Again, unfortunate to see in that lead position going into the wall after what looked like it was going to be a good initiation, but just maybe a little bit too much sauce.
Too much sauce.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll move on. We're going to load in our last group of top 32. Alexander Element and Abdulaziz Al-Harbi are up next. Again, loading in that last group of top 32 if you're just now joining us. Next up will be Alexander Element and Abdulaziz Al-Harbi. The drivers will take just a few practice runs before we kick it off for that last group. Right, and hearing from the judges, last call for those practice runs, Alexander Element and Abdulaziz Al-Harbi coming to the line.
And here they are. Alexander Element in that green Origin Labs S14, and Abdulaziz Al Harvey in his S14 there with the little flag hanging off the back of it as the initiation happens there from Alexander Element, nice and high up on the bank. Al Harvey seems a little higher though, but a lot of gap there between the two as they come into that outer zone. Element really far ahead at this point, starting to really pull away from Al Harvey as they transition into that touch and go and to the final inside clip, and just a huge gap established off the hop.
Yeah, what a massive gap pulled here. We'll go to the replay. Maybe that little jump that Al Harvey had in the chase position, leaving the line, didn't really work out for him. He goes really high up on the bank there, and Alexander doing a very good job in the lead position, getting on to throttle, holding that white line around the outside zone, and Al Harvey just can't reel in that gap that Alexander has established there in that lead position.
Yeah, it almost looks like he tries to do that jump and just doesn't make it stick, but now he'll have his chance at redemption in his lead run as they initiate in. Alexander already trying to get all over the door of Al Harvey as they come down the hill and transition through the inside clip, now into the outer zone. Good snappy initiate or transition from Al Harvey out front, but the proximity that Alexander Element is already having onto him is way more than his, and right there trying to get right on the door, a little tap there as they finish out the run.
Yeah, going back to the replay here, this time Al Harvey out front and looking much better in the lead position, stays super high up on the bank, very smooth coming down, grabs the inside clip. Nice snap into outside zone 2, but there's Element just staying right with him, locked into that same angle and line. Smooth across the middle of the course and down to that last and final inside clip. Here we go, left for Alexander. Alexander takes home the win and moves on against Abdulaziz Al Harvey.
Element takes the win on that occasion. Lead to lead, they both do a fairly solid job. It's just Element's clearly got a bit more grip out of that setup, and just unfortunately Abdul couldn't really keep pace. On the reverse of that, Element just stays on Abdul's door the whole time and takes a convincing win both ways. Good battle though, boys.
And there it is, the decision from head judge Chris there. As we move on to our next battle now, Jack Powell versus Christoph Rupina. Jack Powell in that S14 and Christoph in his BMW as they get off the line and head for their battle here for the last few of the top 32. Nice high up on the bank is Jack Powell, but already all over him is Christoph as they transition into this outside zone, and on the power they go. Look at the proximity though that Christoph has with Jack Powell as they transition to the touch and go and get ready to come through that final inside clip. Door to door and wheel to wheel is Christoph against Jack Powell across that line.
Yeah, he certainly was. As we go back to the replay here, you see Jack out front, entering in very nicely, tons of speed as well, and holds it around the bank. Very good angle. And then you see Christoph right there on the bumper of Jack through those transitions and into outside zone 2, staying right with him as they come down for that second inner clip. Right on the bumper of Jack in that chase position. And there they go across the line, just door to door.
And now switched around, ready to go again. Christoph out front and Jack giving chase. And off they go. Down that straight, good initiation. Whoa! Little late there from Christoph as Jack almost looks like he had to back out of it with too much speed. But they transition down the hill beautifully, and now coming through that outside zone, Jack is already trying to put on that same pressure that Christoph did as they transition to the final touch and go and to the final inner clip. Look at that proximity there. Jack just urging him to go a little quicker as they come across the line.
Yeah, he certainly was, giving him a little push there, going across the finish line, going to the replay here. Kristoff's out front, little tentative on the initiation, but gets to it, very high up on the bank. Jack right there with him, even diving before that transition into outside zone 2. Stays with him here. Here they come down into that second inside clip. Jack right there on the bumper and then onto the door of Kristoff Rupina. Maybe giving him a little tap there, yeah, and edging him across that finish line. See which way the judges go with this super tight battle once again in the top 32. Jack on the left, Kristoff on the right. There they go, sliding left for Jack Powell. Jack Powell's going to get the win and move on.
Okay, so taking the win there is Jack. Really close battle there actually, but there was just a few things that we noticed that just leaned it to Jack on both the runs. So on Jack's lead, his run on the bank was near enough perfect. It was really, really good, dragging the bumper along the wall all the way around. And then just one mistake on Jack's lead, which was he went a little bit deep into 3, which is what allowed Kristoff to really get back on his door. And then from there, Kristoff capitalised on that and did a really good job chasing from then on. It wasn't that convincing coming into that point, but from then on, through the transitions, it was really, really crisp transition, and he did a fantastic job on 5. So Jack basically had to nail it on the first part of the course on his chase. So coming into Jack's chase, on the bank, Kristoff was just not quite as convincing, and Jack had a really aggressive entry and managed to really control that really well, and then get back on the door really, really well through the rest of the course. Kristoff did have a better third clip, and Jack was just on him the whole way, especially the transitions through to 5. That was really pretty much perfect from Jack through there, so it's a slight advantage there as well. So yeah, Jack gets the win.
And there it is, Jack Powell moving on to face Alexander Element in the top 16. And now for the final 2 spots in our top 16 bracket, who's going to take this one of those 2 spots? Will it be Sarunas Chervicius in that Bushido-style Mustang, or will it be Alexander Shavuk in that Turn 14 GT86? Beautiful on the bank, a little touch though from Sarunas as they transition now into that outside zone, but Sarunas putting the car in the right spaces, getting a little gap there from Alexander as he tries to catch up as they transition to the touch and go. Now the door is definitely caught as they come more and more door to door across that line.
Yeah, Alexander did a really good job reeling Sarunas in there. As we go to the replay here, Sarunas out front in that Mustang, setting in very high up on the bank, adds some angle there, about halfway around. Alexander gives room for those transitions and then jumps onto the door there of Sarunas in that lead position. Following him through down to the second inside clip. A nice transition across the inside of that course, and staying with Sarunas there in that lead position.
Now back at the start line, already being sent. Alexander out front, Sarunas giving chase as they transition in. Nice and up on the bank is Alexander, but there's Sarunas starting to pull him in right off the downhill of that. Coming through the outside zone now. I'm just going to leave that alone. As they get door to door, really coming through and getting into that touch and go. There's Sarunas really starting to reel him in. Get nice proximity from Sarunas all the way to the end.
Yeah, good showing by Sarunas here in the chase position as well as we go to the replay. Alexander very high up on the bank. Sarunas sacrifices a little bit of that line then drops down with massive angle in that chase position, but holds it together and then jumps right back onto the door of Alexander Shavruk as they come across the infield here into touch and go. There you see Serrano's just right there with him, staying off the door, maybe giving him a little tap there. Another tough one for the judges here in the top 32.
Alexander takes the win on that occasion. Lead to lead, we just felt that Alexander was just that little bit, well, a fair amount cleaner than Serrano. Serrano, unfortunately, on his entry, taps the wall, has a big correction. Alexander does a great job in chase, not causing the contact, and they both get back into the fight. Unfortunately, then, Serrano also goes a bit deep coming into clip 3, which we'd highlighted in the briefing as a sort of a no-no for the lead driver, as it can sort of gain a bit of a speed advantage, which you didn't see. Alexander does a great job keeping up with that anyway. It does drop a little bit of a tyre there through clip 4, but nothing too untoward. Then in the reverse of that, we felt that Alexander just had a much cleaner lead overall. Serrano does do a good chase, but as we said, there was mistakes in his lead that gave healthy advantage to Alexander. So Alexander takes the win.
Alexander moving on to take one of the 2 final remaining spots in the top 16. And now our final battle of the top 32. Zach O'Sullivan in the S13. Martin Mark in his S14 as they initiate in. Getting nice and high up on the bank is Zach O'Sullivan. And coming down it, but look at the proximity from Martin Mark already as they transition bumper to bumper into that outside zone. Nicely done through there, as just a good proximity is given by Martin Mark through that section as they transition now to the touch and go, and a little bit more proximity is being put on by Martin as he tries to get up on the quarter panel of Zach, but they cross the line before he can make it happen.
Yeah, Zach Sullivan doing very good here in the lead position. Big gap established there before entering in. Drops down off the bank, just super smooth. Tight to the inside clip, and there you see Martin jump onto the door of Zach in that lead position, staying with him through outside zone 2. Nice transition across the center, grabbing that touch and go, and finishing out the course.
Yeah, good battle by these two as now they're back at the start line, flipped around. Martin Mark in the lead lane and Zach O'Sullivan ready to give chase. They're giving the signal. This is our final battle of the top 32. Initiating in. Oh, Martin Mark hitting the wall, trying to get the car to rotate and get back on it. Zach O'Sullivan still right there with them, though, avoiding that contact as they transition into the outside zone now. Zach O'Sullivan really going to put on the pressure as they come through this inside clip and transition for the touch and go. Now they come through, and a little bit of a slowdown there from Martin Marek, but Zach O'Sullivan keeps a good proximity as they cross the line.
Yeah, he certainly does a fantastic job keeping it together, especially after Martin, you see there on the replay, going into the wall a bit. He does get it going, but that will be a 0 in that lead position. Zach stays in it, jumps right back onto the door of Martin Merritt as they finish out this run, grabbing the inside clip. Really unfortunate to see once again from Martin out front hitting that wall. Because other than that, I mean, just great run. And there they go, sliding left for Zach. He'll move on to face Alexander Shavruk in the top 16. That's our final battle at top 32.
Okie dokie, so kind of a simple one there. So on the first run though, Zach did a good job in lead, very clean, very tidy. It was a little bit slow in places, maybe a little bit too much left foot braking, but at the same time Martin probably could have capitalised on that a little bit more. So it was pretty even coming into the second run. And then unfortunately Martin just clips the wall coming into the first corner on the second run and basically 0 outs himself, which is unfortunate, but that's the way these things go sometimes. So Zach gets the win.
He certainly does. does, and again, that's going to round out our top 32. Up next, top 16, and Alan Hines and Tikon Poleski will start us off for top 16, a rematch of the finals in round 1. Waiting on those drivers to connect. They will not get any practice this time. Bringing them right up to the line. Ready to go. There's Alan at the line, ready to go.
And just to say something to Loxy Lennox there, yes, we do read the chat. We keep an eye on both chats there.
Certainly do, but you know, it goes so fast these days, and we got so much going on.
I'm trying to keep up with these drivers. Making my voice hurt.
Oh no!
But at the line now is Alan Hines and Tikon Poleski. It's a repeat of the round 1 battle as Alan Hines sends it in nice and high up on the bank, dragging that rear bumper. Tikon Poleski already on his door though as they transition through that inside clip now. Whoa, touching bumpers as they come into this outside zone right there, wheel to wheel, and on the door is Tikon to Alan Hines. Alan Hines transitions back now through the touch and go. Look at the proximity from Tikon as a perfect lead run from Alan Hines as they come across that line.
Man, what a start to this top 16 battle here as we go back to the replay. Alan looking almost identical to the way he qualified earlier today, maybe even better in this lead position. Super snappy transition coming into outside zone 2, and there's Tikon just rubbing his door all the way through it on the bumper as they transition across the middle into touch and go and across that last inside clip to finish out that run.
Now that was a mega drive by both these guys, just insane. The amount of pressure they can put on each other and just stay so close together. As we now have them flipped around, Tikon Poleski in that S14, the D-Max S14, and Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15. And off they go. Again, Tikon out front, initiating in, getting right nice and high up on that bank as well. But Alan Hines right there already on him, leaving a bit of room for the transition. Now, another transition to the outside zone as they come through. Look at the proximity again from Alan, putting it on his door a little. Not as close as Tikon in the last one. Oh, not enough room there on the transition. Alan hitting the rear bumper of Tikon Poleski, now leaving him a lot of room as they come across that line.
Yeah, trying to make a statement there in the chase position, but I think Tikon made the bigger one in the lead. As we go back to the replay, Tikon sets in very high, rides that bank all the way around, drops down super smooth here, nice snappy transition into outside zone 2, rides it all the way around. There's Alan, maybe giving him a little nudge, but then falls back. Doesn't quite allow Tikon to transition, but Tikon keeps it going. And there you see Alan falling back in that chase position. Tough one for the judges to break down here. Left for Alan Hines, right for Tikon Poleski. Tikon currently our points leader after winning round 1 against Alan Hines.
These two always know how to put on a show, that's for sure.
Seeing it one more time in the chat. Another one more time. Great battle indeed. Not sure on the negativity there towards the drivers, but we certainly don't appreciate it. Both drivers really come and show out, put a lot of time into it. Regardless of which one takes home the win. Both super talented.
Yeah, and they came out and really showed it, you know. This is kind of where I miss the thumbs up animation that they used to have. That was always so funny seeing that. They'd be halfway through the run, just this thumbs up out the window.
Which Victor has some sort of little animation on his driver as well. Not sure what he's doing, but he does something.
A long deliberation from these judges. Personally, I'd like to see it one more time.
It certainly could. And there it is, one more time across the board. We'll wait to hear from one of the judges on why they chose one more time. Just waiting to hear from the judges there. Saw the one more time decision.
One more time, please. That was just way too close for us to call. There was a lot of discussion there between all three of us about there was a lot of discussion on that last corner. We just couldn't decide sort of whether or not we felt that what T-Con did in lead was that bad, and then Ed sort of was considering that as not too bad. It was way too close. So we just want to see that one more time, please.
There you have it. Too close for the judges. They want to see it one more time. A more definitive winner. So we'll switch them back around one more time. Alan will lead. T-Con will give chase.
All right, now for that one more time battle. Alan Hines out front, already getting aggressive out of the gate, riding right up on that guardrail as they come down. T-Con Poleski riding right beside him the whole way through. They transition into this outside zone. Now the proximity starts to come as T-Con is literally in his door as they come side by side, transitioning into the touch and go. T-Con not letting it go. A little tap there from T-Con, but Alan Hines just putting on an amazing lead run there for T-Con to stay so close.
Yeah, he certainly did. Going back to the replay once again, T-Con stays with him on the bank, maybe giving him a little rub there before leaving it. drops down onto the door once again. They're coming into outside zone 2, staying with Alan, and like you said, inside of Alan's car there as they transition across the middle of the course. And across that finish line, they both go.
Yeah, and, you know, Julian's saying it right. You know, it's the virtual Osbo and Dean.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then he goes to say, well, until they start competing here, too. So now they're flipped back around for their one more time battle. Tikon Poleski out front. Alan Hines ready to give chase. It's going to be an all-timer. And we're only in the top 16. We're not even in the finals yet. Let's go, guys. Lay it all out. Tikon out front. Alan giving chase, initiating in. Look at that, right up against that guardrail. Good angle and proximity from both drivers. They come down the hill, transitioning in. Tikon really going wide. And now Alan getting up on that door, trying to really pull away as Tikon. But they come and transition into that touch and go. And look at the proximity from Alan as he really tries to push it into the door as they cross that line.
And this could go all day long here as we go back to the replay. Tikon setting in very high up on the bank. There's Alan right with him, dropping down off as both those drivers. Alan right on the bumper as they transition into outside 2. You called it there. Tikon goes a little wide but reels it right back into that white line. There's Alan on the bumper of Tikon as they make that last and final transition, and there he is giving him little nudges as they cross that finish line.
What an outstanding battle from these two.
And still waiting on those judges to deliberate the winner of this battle. Left for Alan Hines, right for Tikon Poleski. Lots of Tikons in the chat.
On that occasion, Alan takes the win. It's a split call. Myself and Matt just gave it to Alan. Ed went one more time again. So basically, for myself and Matt, that all just comes down to lead. Chase to chase, we just couldn't pick it apart between the two of you. The only thing is that there is a little bit more separation from T-Con coming off the bank, but that's because he maintains his angle better. Alan is slightly lower on angle coming off the bank, but does maintain the proximity a bit better. The only deciding factor for myself and Matt is purely lead to lead. We just felt that Alan just carries that bit more angle throughout the whole run, and T-Con just misses out on clip 2, but that was it. That was incredibly tight, and Ed couldn't make a call, so he went one more time.
There it is. Great explanation.
Yeah,
here we go.
I couldn't really choose between the two. I just wanted to say that for me, I think what edged it more to one more time for me was just I felt like T-Con's aggression on chase was just slightly more there more often than it was from Alan. But yeah, it's tightest of margins.
Yeah, it really was. Chase to chase. Drivers were super close, but judges going with that better lead run. He'll move on to get the win.
And it's at times like these, I'm happy I'm not a judge and have to make that decision.
Absolutely.
Because we would just be stuck here in a one more time loop.
I mean, it was looking like it was going to turn into that.
Definitely was. But now we got our next battle to focus on. Pontus Jacobson against Connor Shanahan. Pontus in that FD RX-7. Connor Shanahan in his Red Bull S415 as they initiate in. Pontus out front, really getting high up on the bank. But oh, Connor getting too aggressive and putting him into the wall. And that's going to be the end of that run. Poor Pontus.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one to go back and look at. We'll let Connor finish out his run, but my goodness. There's Connor finishing out his run. Go right to the replay here. Pontus out front, entering in. And he looks like he gets the bump from Connor in the chase position, which sends Pontus up into the wall. Roll. Connor finishing out his run. Both do get, the run is sort of dead there at that point in time with that massive contact.
But we now have him flipped around and ready to go and do battle once again. Connor Shanahan will be leading, and Pontus will be giving chase off the start. They go down the long straight to initiate in, and off they are. Nice and high up on the bank is Connor Shanahan, but Pontus putting that FD right beside him as they transition down the hill to the inside clip, now going into the outer zone. And look at the proximity that Pontus is already putting onto Connor Shanahan as they come through that inside clip, now transitioning to the outer touch and go. Look at that, another good charge from Pontus as he's literally pushing Connor Shanahan through the line.
Yeah, he certainly did there. Going to the replay here, you see Connor enter in very high up on the bank, looking very good. Pontus a little bit lower than Connor. They drop down off the bank there into outside zone 2, riding that white line as they should. Very smooth here, grabbing that inside clip. Nice snappy transition through the middle of the course as well, and then reeling that inside clip in to cross the finish line. There we go, left for Pontus, right for Connor Shanahan. Judges might take their time on this one to assess that contact and give fault for that first run of the battle. Again, judges taking their time, looking over the replays, making sure they're making the right call there. Having a little bit of background technical difficulties as well. And that lead driver and chase driver graphic up and going again. Still just waiting on that slide left and slide right. Left for Pontus, right for Connor. Lots of love for Pontus. Judges really taking their time with this one, making sure they're making the right call. Again, in a way, I guess it could also be a shared fault too if Pontus was still on his brakes when he shouldn't have been after entering in. Which, you know, and then Connor also being aggressive. We'll have to wait and see. I think Connor came in just a little bit too hot there. And that just, I mean, tiny tap that he gave Pontus was enough to straighten him up and then send him into the wall. And again, as I stated before, we also had some technical difficulties in the background that are also getting sorted.
I like Aiden's comment here. Flip a coin. Maybe want to roll the replay one more time? We'll show it one more time while we're waiting.
We can, and unfortunately, it's only going to be the last one that we just saw Connor out front rather than the contact that we saw in the first half of the battle. Now again, Connor does a fantastic job here in the lead, Pontus as well in his chase position, but it's really going to come down to the contact in the first half of the battle and whose fault it's going to be.
So close together. Doing a great job through the zones and just putting the cars exactly where they need to be put.
All right, so we have a full-on split decision between all three judges here. So I'm very curious to hear from our judges today on this decision here.
So that was incredibly difficult. In the end, Ed has gone with giving the fault to... I'll say first, it's one more time. It's a split decision. I've got one more time because I cannot decide on that contact on the initiation who I feel is at fault. So I'm kind of taking a bit of a cop-out and just assigning that one as a 5-5. And then on the second run, I also thought it was 5-5 as well. On the reverse of that, Ed went with the fault on the contact on run 1 being as Pontus's fault and giving the battle therefore to Connor, and Matt went the other way and felt that it was Connor's fault and gave the battle to Pontus. So due to that, it's a one more time. I was the one being the stick in the mud. I was trying to come to a decision. I just couldn't. For me, that contact is too tight. I just cannot decide who is at fault for that. So I'm just giving that as a shared fault and just sending it again, please.
And there we go. I'm glad to see hopefully a more cleaned up battle. No contact coming into this half of it. And both drivers get good initiations and enter in. So again, just as I pulled up, earlier, Pontus entering in, not quite, getting that hammer down, still on brake. And then also Connor coming in a little bit too hot. Both of them mixed together, makes for that contact.
Yeah, and here we go with their one more time battle. Pontus Jacobson out front, Connor giving chase, no mistakes this time. Clean initiation as they come through the bank and transition down through the inside clip, now into the outside zone. A good gap that Pontus has established on Connor. Connor's not being as aggressive as he was in that first little stint, but now as they come into that outside touch and go, that's where Connor starts to push up onto the door of Pontus, but doesn't really get there as they cross the line.
Yeah, Pontus came out swinging this time as he enters in, gets onto it, and very high up on that bank. Connor right there on his door, but there's where he backs off maybe a little bit too much. And Pontus really sort of holds on to the gap there. Connor reels him in just a little bit here, but then falls off once again there through the transition. Now Pontus was a little bit shallow there towards the touch and go, but overall very good.
And now back into their opposite positions for their final run of this one more time battle. Connor Shanahan out front, Pontus giving chase, initiating in and already up on top of that bank. Ooh, a little bit of a scrape there from Pontus as they were coming down off the bank. Now they transition into the outside zone. Pontus getting all over the door of Connor Shanahan, really trying to put that proximity in. A little bit of a gap there as they come through that inside clip. Now going through the touch and go. Pontus really's got to stay on that door of Connor, and look at the proximity as they come door to door across the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Judge is giving Pontus another chance here, and he goes after it in the chase position. Really staying with Connor through the bank and right there. I mean, backing off for just enough room to let Connor transition and make that snappy initiation into outside zone 2, and then stays with him there through the center of the course. Really gets up onto the door of Connor, stays with him there, and across that finish line. Here they are, reset, left for Pontus, right for Connor Shanahan. See a lot of RX-7 and Pontus in the chat. There we go. Sliding left for Pontus Jacobson. He gets the win over Connor Shanahan and will move on to face Alan Hines in the Grade 8.
Wow.
Okay, on the one more time, Pontus takes the win. Lead to lead, Connor does have a slightly clean lead overall. Is that a little bit higher on the entry to the bank, and also fills clip 5 that little bit better. It's more in the chase position for me. I felt that on Pontus' lead, Connor could have done a little bit more to keep a little bit more proximity overall. And then on the reverse of that, Connor, again, credit, does do a better lead, but Pontus also is just that little bit more aggressive overall and just maintains proximity. So for me, I'd mark that first run as a 5-5 and that second run as a 6-4 for Pontus.
Absolutely. Congratulations to Pontus. Moving on, and he'll face Alan Hines later on in the Grade 8.
And now we get to go move into our next battle, Augusto Ferreira versus Lisa Amazou. in on this second top 16 or third top 16 battle. As Augusto Ferreira gets off the line, they initiate in Lizam in that A90 Supra. A really high on the bank and very nice angle is Augusto Ferreira. And now Lizam trying to close that proximity, almost pushing Augusto off course when he was trying to do the transition. Now coming through that inside clip and onto the outside touch and go. Good angle, and now the proximity. Oh, and a huge hit from Lizam, a huge surge that put Augusto off course.
Yeah, super unfortunate there as the run was going so well. Going back to the replay here, Augusto out front, Lizam chasing him down. Now big gap right there in the beginning of the bank, but Lizam does a good job diving here, leaving enough room for the transition. Staying with Augusto there through outside zone 2. Grabbing that inner clip as well. Nice transition. And then here we go with the bump and surge there into Augusto, knocking him off course.
And now they're back and ready to do battle once again. Lizam is out up top there in that lead position, and Augusto Ferreira ready to give chase. And off they go. Initiating in is Lizam, nice and high up on that bank, but ooh, a little bit of contact there from Augusto, trying to be super aggressive on that bank as they transition now into the outer zone. Huge angle thrown by Augusto, trying to just keep up with Lizam. Now a huge gap has been established now into the touch and go, where now the gap has come back and Augusto is right there and ready to get attacked, but I don't think it was enough to be done before the end of that run.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, going to the replay, Lizam now out front, and with a very smooth initiation, gets a little tap from Augusto. Good job by Lizam to hold it together and keep it going. There you see the over-rotation from Augusto in the chase position, causing him to fall back quite a bit in that chase position. He does reel him back in just a little bit there and gives him a little tap before they cross that line. So we might have another one more time here just based off the mistakes.
Yeah, and it is just the sad way it does go sometimes, but again, everything has to be judged fair. So
and okay, all right, so Lizam gets the win. The judges did a little dance there across the slide left, slide right, but it looks like Lizam.
Oh, I just saw
win.
that.
Wait to hear from the judges, see what they.
Okay,
say.
sorry
Here
about the things flicking back and forth then on the decision, but Lizam gets the win. We found that the contact at the end of the first run was Augusto's fault because he hit the brakes in the middle of the corner, and it was enough that Lizam couldn't really do much about it. I think he tried, but ended up just bumping him. And then on the second run, Augusto just had a bit of a mare all the way through, messed up on the first corner, and threw it into 3 a bit too hard, and then coming into 5 as well was a bit wobbly, so I just left more advantage to Lizam. So yeah, Lizam takes the win.
Alrighty, so our next battle up, Reese Tatterson versus Hayden Winter. Hayden Winter really fighting his way to get into this top 16 spot, but there's Reese putting it nice and high up on that bank, and Hayden Winter trying to almost struggling to keep up with them in that first little section, as now they're in the outside zone, coming out of that through the inside clip, now transitioning to the touch and go, and there's the proximity from Hayden Winter right on the door as they cross that line.
Yeah, he certainly was. We'll go back to the replay here. Reese Tatterson out front, giving lead to Hayden Winter. Hayden jumps right onto the door of Reese around that bank, drops back, lets Reese transition both those times there, and into that outside zone too. Both these drivers go door to door down to the inside clip. Hayden almost doesn't back up enough to let Reese transition, but he does, and then stays with him as they cross that finish line.
We knew this was going to be a good battle, so we're happy to see the top 16 is not disappointing, as we now have them switched around. Hayden Winter up top, and Reese Tatterson now giving chase as they get off the line and initiate in for the second half of their battle. On the top of the bank, there is Hayden Winter. Reese Tatterson, though, already all over them as they transition through the inside clip and into the outer zone. And now a little bit of a gap established between Hayden Winter, but there's Reese Tatterson reeling him back in as they go for the second transition now to the touch and go. And let's see what kind of proximity Reese can put out here as he gets right on the door of Hayden and comes across the line.
Yeah, he did just that. Going back to the replay, this time Hayden out front, leading Reese Tatterson and looking good doing so. Very nice coming down off the bank, grabbing that inside clip. Very smooth transitions here from the lead driver, Hayden Winter. And there you see a little tap from Reese Tatterson, giving him some room there to transition, to grab that touch and go into the inside clip. They both come a little rubbing here and there, and they finish it out. There we go. Slide him left for Reese, right for Hayden.
Okay, Reese takes the win there. Lead to lead. Massive, massive props to both of you. You both killed it in the lead. Only little thing, I suppose, is that Hayden just misses out on clip 6, but that's it. Chase to chase. It all comes down to come off the bank. Unfortunately, there, Hayden just has a little bit of a moment, just loses a bit of angle coming off the bank into 2, and then gets it back up, gets back in the fight beautifully by 3, but on the reverse of that, Reese just doesn't have that error. He just holds it together that little bit better off the bank and just takes the battle there by just being a little bit cleaner through clip 2 into 3, but great battle, guys.
Absolutely, and great explanation from Chris there. Reese is going to move on to face Lazam in the Great 8. That's it for our first group of top 16. We're going to load in our next group of top 16. Our next 8 drivers, starting it off Victor Alves and Adriel Mikado.
I'm betting that's a battle that a lot of people have been dying to see. They've been waiting patiently for it.
Right, looks like Drivers are done and ready, just waiting on Victor Alves to get to the line, where he'll face off Adriel Mikado. There he comes, creeping to the line.
And they are ready to go. Victor Alves in that D-Max S14, and Adriel Machado giving chase as they initiate onto that bank. Nice and high is Victor Alves, but right with them is Adriel Machado as they come into that outer zone. Oh, and a really inside line there, trying to get that proximity from Victor Alves, or from Adriel Machado, as they transition into that outside touch and go. And now the proximity really starts to come from Adriel as he really pushes onto the door of Victor as they cross the line.
Yeah, he certainly went after it there in that chase position towards the latter half here. Going to the replay, Victor enters in very high up on the bank. Adriel a little bit low, but drops in onto the door of Victor here, coming into outside zone. Now he is on a little bit tighter line there, ends up reeling him back in there and staying with him across that inside clip, backs up a little bit, let him transition, and then right up onto the door once again of Victor Alves in that lead position.
Yeah, now they're back at the top, and now Adriel Machado will give his lead run with Victor Alves giving chase. Adriel getting ready, coming down the straight and initiating in. Nice and high up on that bank. Victor right there, but almost not the same angle as they come down and grab that inside clip, beautifully transition into the outside zone. And right there, Victor is getting onto the door of Adriel as he turns on the headlights when they come through that inside clip. Now grabbing that touch and go, Victor is really putting on the pressure to Adriel as they come across that line.
Yeah, he certainly did there. Going to the replay, Adriel now out front being chased down by Victor Alves, and Victor Alves doing exactly that. Drops back there to let Adriel transition, and then right back onto the door coming into outside zone 2, and stays with him very well. As you said, turns on those lights to give him a heads up to get moving, and then he jumps right back onto the door again, almost giving him a tap, but then drops back and lets Adriel finish the course.
These yeah, these top 16 just don't stop and pressing.
They really don't. They're only going to get better, and there they go, sliding left for Victor Alves. See what that last judge goes with, and he goes with Victor Alves as well. So we'll see from the judges on why they went that way.
Okay, Victor takes the win there. Lead to lead, they are really genuinely both really good lead runs, especially coming through 5 into 6 there, guys. You both did beautifully there. It's just then chase to chase. Victor just starts out just up on the bank that little bit closer, maintains that proximity all the way down through. Unfortunately, Adriel was a little bit lower on the bank and then coming into 2 as well. And then he had made the gap up by 3, but obviously on the reverse of that, Victor doesn't make the same mistake. So great battle, but just going to Victor.
And there it is, Victor getting the win over Adriel, but in good sport as they were both giving each other some celebratory donuts there and even a thumbs up out the window, as I mentioned earlier. So next up, Alexander Holstner and Marcus Lindquist. Alexander Holstner out front in that RPM team Volvo, and Marcus Lindquist giving chase in that bright pink 240SX. Beautiful job so far down the bank and through into the infield. Good through this outside zone, a little off the white line, but Marcus is starting to reel in that proximity as, oh, a huge lockup from Marcus sends him off course. Now it's up to just Alexander to finish out that run, which he does.
Yeah, he certainly does. That was just wild to watch. I mean, almost took me out of my seat there going back to the replay. Alexander gets off to a really good start here. Very good lead. Marcus is reeling him in as the run goes through. A little bit tighter line there in the chase position. Alexander doing a really good job in the lead. And here they come through the middle course. And then, yeah, as you said it, I mean, it just looks like the front end just locked up on him. And he couldn't finish the run.
Well, now we get to see, hopefully that lockup was a one-time thing as Marcus starts his chase or his lead run with Alexander giving chase as he initiates in, gets right up on top of that bank, dragging that rear bumper on that guardrail, but Alex is right there already on him as he almost doesn't leave enough room for the transition. Marcus right on that white line, and there's Alex just pressuring him on that door as they transition now to the touch and go, and look at that. Side by side, almost wheel to wheel, just putting on the pressure and a little tap there right at the end.
Oh no, yeah, even after the finish line there, we'll go back to the replay. Marcus out front this time, entering in much higher on the bank. And there you see Alexander a little bit lower there in the Volvo, but does a good job to stay there with Marcus through his chase run. Marcus on a very good lead line here. And very surprised Alexander really going after it in the chase position after, that big mistake from Marcus in his chase. There you see the little bump there coming across the line. There it is, left for Alexander, right for Marcus. And there they go to the left for Alexander.
Okay, so Alex takes the win there. Fortunately, it come down to just that mistake on the first run there from Marcus. Not sure what exactly happened, but through the transition, just lost it. And yeah, sorry, man. Just saw that, and that gives the win to Alexander.
All right, and our next battle's ready to go. Alexander Element against Jack Powell. Alexander Element in that Origin Labs S14 and Jack Powell in that blue S14. And off they go. Alexander Element out front, initiating in off that straight, nice up onto that bank, and there's Jack mimicking the angle perfectly as they come down the hill and through the first inside clip, now into the outer zone. Look at them go as Jack's keeping a nice proximity from Alex as they come through that next inside clip and transition into the touch and go, and now the proximity from Jack is just starting to go, but ooh, Alex starts pulling away there at the last second.
Yeah, he certainly did there. Going back to the replay here, Jack Powell chasing down Alexander Element. Very nice initiation by both these drivers, very high up on the bank. They drop down together, Jack staying right there with him, almost on the bumper through the transition, and then jumps onto the door of Alexander out front. Here they come down to the inside clip, last and final transition through the middle of the course. Grabs that touch and go, very nice. Jack does wash a little bit wide there, which pulls that gap from Alexander out front.
And now we have them in their reverse position. Jack Powell giving his lead run with Alexander Element giving chase. Jack initiates in nice and high up on the bank. Alexander starts to catch him right near the end as they transition through that first inside clip, now into the outer zone. And there's Jack laying on the angle, but Element right there on his door as they come through that inside clip and now make their way to the touch and go. And look at the proximity that Alex has onto Jack as they come door to door across the line.
Yeah, I think that might have been the big difference between the runs there as we go back to the replay. This time Jack out front, being chased down by Alexander Element, entering in very high up on the bank, nice and smooth. Bit of a gap there, but Alexander reels him in as they go around the bank. Drops back for the transition there, going into outside zone 2. Maybe even a little tap there from Element in that chase position. Gives him enough room to transition here, and there's the difference there. Alexander just staying right there with him as they go across that last inside clip and across the finish line. There it is, left for Alexander Element and right for Jack Powell. Waiting on those judges for that decision there. It was a super close battle between the two. There it is. Left for Alexander, and that one more time, so we'll wait to hear from those judges on the decision.
Okay, so for us, Alexander gets the win there. It was very close to call, but myself and Matt felt like Alexander came out with an advantage with a slightly better chase throughout. There was a slight wobble on the bank, and Jack did manage a better bank on his lead, but the rest of the course felt like Alexander managed to carry a better advantage through there from his chase. It was a bit closer all the way throughout, a little bit more aggressive, and also Jack did have a bad entry into 3 on his lead, and Jack also had a bit of a wobble on 5. It was coming through to 6. It wasn't that great on his chase as well, and I think Alexander, just with that better aggression, a little bit better proximity through his chase, just handed the advantage over for us. But Chris thought it was a one more time, so I'll let him say his piece about why he thought it was one more time.
Cool, thank you, Ed. Yeah, so for me, I don't really inherently disagree with any of that. It's just that for me, I felt that Alexander's mistake in his chase on the bank, where he had to make quite a sizable correction, I felt, and then had to catch back up. I felt that equaled what Jack did in his chase, where he had a really good chase up until the last corner, and then just coming down into clip 6, he just had a little angle correction and just lost a bit of ground. So for me, I just felt that with the rest of Element's chase being that little bit more precise, a little bit more aggressive than Jack's, as I concur with the other two, it's just for me, I felt that the mistake that Element makes on his entry on the bank was enough to go one more time, but that was it.
Jack Powell, and now for our final battle of the top 16, Dak O'Sullivan versus Alexander Shavuk. Dak in that S13 and Alexander in that GT86. Good job off of the bank. Huge cut of the line though from Alex as he tries to keep that proximity to Zach as they come through that outer zone. And now coming into that inner clip and transitioning to the touch and go. Good proximity now from Alex as he tries to keep it on the door. A little bumper tap there from Alex as they cross that line.
Yeah, there certainly was. As we go back to the replay again, Zach leading Alexander, this time very high up on the bank, dropping back down here. Very smooth, almost a bumper tap from Alexander in that chase position along that transition into outside zone 2. Both doing a fantastic job here. Very clean lead, very clean chase. And there you see Alexander really going after it in that chase position, giving Zach a little bit of those taps.
And now front lines with Alex out front, Zach giving chase. Alex heading down that straight, and good initiation in as he tries to get it up as high as he can on that bank. Zach doing a great job to just stick with them as they go through that first inside clip. Beautiful transition from both drivers into that outer zone, and look at the proximity that Zach is pushing onto Alex as they transition once more. Now through the touch and go, and here comes more pressure from Zach to get onto that door without making contact.
Yeah, and I think he did just that. Going to the replay again, Alex out front this time in his GTA 6, being chased down by Zach. Zach a little bit low on the bank, but stays with him. Big angle from Alexander out front along that inside clip and into outside zone 2. There's Jack reeling him back in. Zach staying with him, dropping back for the transition, and then right up onto the door once again as they've come across that finish line. So maybe another one more time here, as this battle was just super close.
I feel battles today.
Just waiting on judges to slide left. Alexander right for Zach O'Sullivan. Who's it gonna be? And some love for Zach in the chat. There they go. Yeah, to the right for Zach O'Sullivan. He's going to take home the win.
Zach making waves.
Okay, for us there, Zach gets the win. There's a couple of points there that led us towards that. One of them was Alexander had a mistake coming into 2 into 3 on his chase. Just kind of cut 2 really badly and then transitioned into 3 really wide. Both of you on your leads were wide into 3, so that kind of cancelled itself out. And then also on Zach's chase, he kind of had nowhere to go because Alexander kind of messed up his line coming off the bank. Came off the bank too soon by the looks of it, and that left those transitions awkward again through there. So just a couple of things there that led us towards Zach getting the win.
Hey, have a great explanation. And that's going to do it for top 16. We're moving on into top 8. Alan Hines and Pontus Jacobson will kick it off for us as we load in that next group.
All right, and our battle is up and ready to go. Alan Hines and Pontus Jacobson for the first battle of the Great 8. Alan Hines in that Pro Drift Academy S15 and Pontus in that red FDRX7 as they come into that first bank, and look at the angle that Alan Hines had around it, but right there to the door is Pontus. Ooh, and lots of angle thrown from Alan Hines, but right there Pontus is staying with them. They come through that inside clip and now to the touch and go. Pontus is not letting them get this one easy as Pontus puts it on his door as they come through and pass the line.
Absolutely, that's one of the best chase runs I've seen from Pontus in a while. He does enter in a little awkward there, but works himself back up into the pocket of Alan Hines' door, gives him some room there to transition. Alan almost over-rotating there coming into outside zone 2. Pontus doing a very good job not to run him over, gives him room for that transition across the middle, and then right back up onto the door of Alan Hines in that lead position.
And now they're back and ready to do battle once more, except this time Pontus is in the lead, and Alan will be giving chase. And off they go for the second half of the first battle of the top grade 8. And up they come onto that bank. Nice job by Pontus on that bank, but right away Alan is getting onto the door and keeping that proximity close as they come into this outer zone. And good job from Pontus, but look at the proximity from Alan. Now the final transition to the touch and go. This is where it counts and where it matters. And look at that, almost the same amount of proximity, but the FD just slowly pulling away at the end.
Yeah, he really did there. We'll go to the replay. Entering in another little bit of tentativeness from Pontus out front in the RX-7, but once he's into it, he's nice and settled and pulls a little bit of a gap on Alan Hines here. Gets a little tap there coming into outside zone too. They keep it together. Very smooth across that inside clip as well. Out to the touch and go. Both of them go. And there they are door to door. And you see Pontus start to try and reel away there.
Grabbed an extra gear and went, nope, not today.
Yeah, he certainly did. And there we go. Left for Alan Hines and right for Pontus Jacobson. Very close call here. Maybe even a one more time. See what chat has to say about it.
Pontus takes the win there. Obviously, that comes down to just Alan just over-rotating, coming through into clip 3. Pontus does an amazing job there to not cause any massive contact. He might have clipped him a little bit, we think, that might have actually helped Alan get back out online, but yeah, no, just fantastic chase driving there from Pontus to not cause massive contact there. And unfortunately, Alan just takes himself out.
Yeah, and look at there. Not so rigged after all. Pontus takes home the win.
Wow. Well, one Pro Drift Academy driver down. One more to go. Reese Tatterson, it's up to you. And Lizam, let's see what you guys can do. The Reese out front. This is not Alan. This is now Reese, his co-driver and co-partner teammate. And Lizam giving him the chase there in that A90 Supra. A little bit of a cut there from Lizam over that inside clip, but Reese definitely putting it down. But look at the proximity that Lizam's putting onto Reese Tatterson as they transition to the touch and go. Here he goes trying to get that door, and he's got it, and all the way across the line too.
Yeah, he definitely went after it there. It is all up to Reese for Pro Drift Academy from this point on. Reese entering in very nice, super high up on the bank, drops down very smooth as well. The chase doing a fantastic job as well. Lizam in the A90 Supra staying right there with Reese, not giving him any rubs or taps. Gives him enough room to transition across the middle there and jumps right back onto the door of Reese. There he starts giving him little taps before they cross that finish line.
And now they are back at the start line, ready for the second half of this battle. And now Lizam in that A90 Supra will lead, and Reese Tatterson in Pro Drift Academy S15 will give chase. Off they go. Good start by both drivers. Now for Lizam's initiation as he gets it nice and high up on that bank. But Reese definitely mimicking that angle as they come down to the outside zone. And woo, getting right close are they. Almost made a little bit of contact. But Reese is definitely trying to put that pressure on Lizam as they transition now to the touch and go. Reese got to get in there, and he certainly does, putting it almost in the same pocket with just a little bit of a bigger gap.
Yeah, he certainly does here. Going to the replay this time, Lizam out front in the A90 Super, riding the wall very nicely, dropping down off as well and grabbing that inside clip. Smooth transition, maybe a little bit of a lag there, but Reese hangs on to it, jumps onto the door, backs off to give him room to let him transition, and then jumps right back onto the door on a little bit tighter line than Lizam, but overall very, very good. And there it is, quick decision. Reese Tatterson gets the win and moves on into the top 4 for Pro Drift Academy.
Okie dokie, so Reese takes the win on that one. It was pretty close. On the first run, Reese had a really good lead, did really well. The only thing really to point out on that first run was Lazam seemed to have an issue on clip 2, took it a bit too early, basically wiped out the cone, and that messed up his transition into 3 slightly, but otherwise it was a really good chase. And then you swap it around, and basically Reese didn't make a mistake in the chase. He actually dealt it really well with a lag spike coming into 3. We noticed that was really commendable, and it kept the battle going. So we appreciate that. But yeah, all in all, great battle. Thanks, guys.
And there you have it from our judges. Reese Tatterson will go on to take on Pontus Jacobson in the final 4. As now our next battle of the Grade 8, Victor Alves and Alexander Holstner, as Victor's out front in that D-Max S15. Really good job on the initiation there. Nice, good proximity as they come into this outside zone. Good job around that, but look at Alexander Holstner again, not letting up, not letting them get away as they transition to that touch and go. Here we go, try and get on that door as Alex is trying to do, finding his angle perfectly and side by side across the line.
Yeah, they certainly were. We'll go back to the replay again. Victor Alves out front. Now, Alex goes for a little bit of a weird initiation there, almost like he was maybe a little too early or didn't realize where he was on the track. But he holds it together, just uses that left foot brake, works himself up the bank, and then, as you see here, through the outside zone too, he stays with Victor, gives him enough room to transition across the middle there, and then right back onto the door. So Alexander really showing out here today in that little Amazon.
All right, and now they're back at the start line, ready to do battle once more. Alexander Holstner out front now in that Volvo, and Victor Alves giving chase. Initiating in is Alexander. Oh, and a touch on the guardrail, almost straightening out Alexander, but Victor doing a great job to stay behind him and keep in drift as they continue going through this course. And there's Victor starting to really put the pressure on, almost a few taps, so not giving him enough room for the transition as he starts to dive in now for that inside clip, but Victor is all over him.
Yeah, he certainly was. As we go back to the replay here, again, Alexander out front this time, leading Victor Alves. Sets in just a little bit too high in that Amazon, and it causes him to straighten up along the bank. He does a good job to get it back going, and then Victor jumping back onto the door to keep the run going and keep it exciting there. Almost little bumps from Victor in the chase. He has to back off maybe a little bit too much, but that's all right with Alexander going a little bit too wide on the bank. There we have it left for Victor Alves, and there they already go. Chris, Matt, and Ed. Victor Alves will get the win.
Okay, Victor takes the win there. Commendable chase from Alexander. Has a bit of a sort of shaky chase on the bank, but then throughout the rest of that run does really, really well. Unfortunately, on the reverse of that, Alexander just meets the wall just a little bit too hard and does a really good job to keep hold of it, but at that point, obviously, that gives big advantage to Victor, and then the rest of the run, Victor ties it back up, gets back on the door, and also credit to Alexander, he gets back in it, but obviously at that point, damage is done, advantage to Victor, Victor takes the win.
There we have it. Victor Alves moving on to the final 4 as we have our last battle of the Grade 8, Alexander Element versus Zach O'Sullivan. Alexander Element was definitely almost Rookie of the Year last year. Now Zach O'Sullivan almost trying to take that aim himself. As they come down the straight and initiate in, Zach getting right up there, but Alexander holding a huge line up top as they come down in transition, really trying to run away now as they come into this outer zone. beautiful job by Alexander. The proximity isn't really there to that outer zone, but I'm sure Zach is going to make up for it right here, as he's been doing all day long. And across the line they go.
Yeah, they certainly do. Going back on the replay here, Alexander out front leading Zach through the course here. Both super high on the bank, riding it very nicely. They drop down off together. Smooth transition into outside zone 2 as well, getting out to that white line. And there you see a little bit of a gap established by Alexander Element, and there Zach reels him back in for that last and final inside clip and to finish the run.
Well, and now they're back at the top again. The final battle of our Great 8, Zach O'Sullivan and Alexander Element. Zach O'Sullivan with a very impressive finish in the first round. We'll see if he can keep that momentum going. And off they go down that straightaway and initiating in. Nice up on the bank is Zach O'Sullivan, but there's the pressure from Alexander Element right off the hop as they transition into that outside zone. And look at that, right on that white line. But look at the proximity from Alex as they just give them enough room to transition and goes right back for that door. A little tap there and another tap again as they come to that inside zone and across the line.
Yeah, really good second half of the battle as we go back to the replay. Zach this time out front initiating in. Very smooth here along the bank. And there you see Element in that chase position, almost giving him a little tap there coming off the bank, but he drops back just enough to let Zach transition. Very nice through outside zone 2 there. Alexander Element staying with him on the bumper there as well through the middle section and that transition, and then little taps as they come across that finish line. There they are, and they slide left quick. Alexander Element gets the win and moves on to the final 4.
Okay, so Alexander takes the win for us there. Really came down to chase. Your leads were really, really solid, really, really chaseable. I really enjoyed that. But on the bank, Zach was quite shallow, and also on third, it was quite shallow coming through that outer zone. And Alexander was just had a bit more proximity and better matching angle, and also his transition through 4 to 5 as well was really aggressive and really good there. So yeah, he just had an advantage overall everywhere.
There we go. The winner being Alexander Element, going on to face Victor Alves in the final 4. And now for those battles already, the final 4. First one, Pontus Jacobson versus Reese Tatterson. Pontus already took out one Pro Drift Academy driver. Can he do it again as Reese Tatterson initiates in, gets real nice up high on that bank, leaving a bit of a gap there from the Pontus as they transition into that outside zone. Huge angle from Reese, but there is Pontus right up on the door, making up for that proximity loss on the bank as they transition to the touch and go. And now look at the proximity there. Not expecting the angle change, but makes it do and gets it across the line.
Yeah, he certainly does. A little tap from Pontus in the chase position there. Pontus entering in a little bit low, holds a little bit lower line as well across the bank. And Reese doing a very good job out front. Super smooth transition into outside zone 2. And there you see Pontus putting on the pressure in the chase position as they come across that middle section of the course. And there's the little tap there, little nudge to the rear end of Reese's car in that lead position.
What a great drive Pontus is having today. And I know Reese wants to keep the momentum going and not go out now and take this all the way to the finals, but only one of them can make it. Pontus now leading, Reese Tatterson giving chase. And off they go. Pontus in that red FD-RX-7, initiating in. Nice job on the bank. Almost the same proximity from the lead run as well from Reese Tatterson as they come into this outside zone. Not as aggressive from Reese as Pontus was on him. Now they transition into that touch and go. And now Reese is starting to put on that pressure as Pontus puts on an amazing lead run as they come across the line.
Yeah, a little bit of a odd hiccup there right at the end of the course as well. As we go back to the replay, Pontus utilizing that left foot brake a bit to get himself high up on that bank and stay there. Smooth transition into outside zone 2. Reese is right there with him, holding that same line and angle. Drops back a little bit, maybe too much there for that transition. Ends up a little bit on the inside. And yeah, way to finish out that second half of the battle. And we go to the judges. We slide left for Reese Tatterson, right for Pontus Jacobson. Like we're getting some love for Reese in the chat already.
I mean, just because it's me and I want more drifting, one more time.
We could get it. We could certainly get it. As yeah, we had a one more time there and a Pontus from chat. 2 more Reeses. Reeses.
We all know where you're going with that.
I've got some Reese's peanut butter cups sitting right next to me, to be completely honest. So plug to Reese's.
Nestle Reese's. Reese's looking for a sponsor. No.
Is it Nestle? Are they owned by Nestle?
I think they're Nestle.
I'm about to. Let's see. Oh, guess again, bro.
Oh, I'm wrong.
You are wrong. Let's see if chat can figure it out before before the judges make a decision. Who owns Reese's? Reese's peanut butter cups pieces. Who owns them?
I think I sworn it was Nestle. They
It
don't
is
like
not.
everything that's chocolate.
Nope. Come on, think of chocolate again. Tanner.
Really, I think of chocolate, and all I think of is Nestle.
I could work that out for you, Jeff. Special request. We wait on these owned by my wallet.
Owned by my wallet.
Oh, and they go left for Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson gets the win, so we'll hear from the judges.
Okay, on that occasion, Reese takes the win. It all comes down to chase. Unfortunately, there as Pontus enters in his chase run, he just has this bobble, and then he has an angle correction, loses a load of ground, and then he does, to his credit, get back into it, and then gets back into that fight from about sort of halfway between 2 and 3. It's just on the reverse of that, Reese doesn't have that same error. He does lose ground a little bit coming through 4 into 5 on Pontus. There is clearly a lot of pace in that little RX-7, but for us it was just at that point. Reese does keep enough proximity from then on down to keep the advantage through and to take the win overall. Really close though, really close.
It certainly was, and Octavian actually figured it out in chat. Hershey's company owns Reese's.
I saw the comment. I was like, why did I not think of Hershey's? Because it's like, but that's okay. We have one more battle to go to figure out who's going to be going after Reese Tatterson in the finals. Will it be Victor Alves? Will it be Alexander Element? We're about to find out. Victor Alves in that D-Max S14. And Alexander Element in the Origin Labs S14 as they initiate in. Good initiation from Victor. Look at that. Alexander mimicking the angle perfectly as they transition down into that inside clip. Now into the outside zone. Alexander putting the pressure onto Victor. Look at that. The proximity. They look like just they're mirrored together as they transition to the touch and go. Alexander really just putting it on him now, wanting to push him around the track as they cross the line.
Whoa, what a start to a battle here. Absolutely. As we go to the replay here, both just door to door around this bank. Victor doing a fantastic job out front, putting down a very clean lead run, putting it on the white line there, and you see Element jumping onto the door, staying with him, locked into that angle and line, and then gives him room to transition across the middle, and then stays with him as they come across this finish line.
What a battle. And now we flip them around. Alexander Element out front and Victor Alves giving chase as Element initiates in. Good job getting up on that bank. Ooh, lots of left foot brake as he came through it, but doesn't disrupt Alves any as they transition into this outside zone. Alves putting on the pressure as well, just like Element was, as they transition again to that outer touch and go. And look at the proximity now as Alves just right up on the door as they come across the line.
He certainly was. As we go to the replay here again, Element out front this time. Very good initiation by both drivers. Now Victor does drop down a little bit, sacrifices a little bit of angle there along the bank, but then jumps onto the door, maybe giving Element a little bit of a tap there as they first come into outside zone 2. Drops back for that transition through the middle, and then right back onto the door to stay aggressive in that chase position against Alexander Element. So here they are, slide left for Victor Alves, right for Alexander Element. Already seeing a couple one more times. I believe that says one more timer, Alexander.
Okay, so Alexander Element gets that for us. There was just a couple of little things in Victor's chase that decided that one. Victor was slightly shallower on the bank, and also coming into 3 as well. There's a slight wobble, but it was very, very close. And also we felt that Alexander was able to angle match a little bit better, and that gave him a slightly more aggressive looking chase. But it was, very, very fine margins. Really, really close battle there. Thank you, guys.
It certainly was, but we haven't seen the end of that. And those drivers, we will bring them right back to the line. Victor Alves and Pontus Jacobson for the 3rd place battle.
All right, so now we have our 3rd place battle coming at you right now. Victor Alves in the lead position against Pontus Jacobson. Both these guys have had a mega drive today, so let's send it out good. High up on the bank is Victor Alves, but there's Pontus like he's been all day, already on the back bumper. Now good into that outside zone. Pontus trying to get up on that door and close that proximity before he has to back out for the transition and get into that touch and go. And now, a big hit there as he tries to keep on the door of Victor Alves, and across the line he goes.
Yeah, big time aggression here in the chase position from Pontus, but you can't take anything away from the lead there from Victor. I mean, just setting in super high to the bank, right on the wall. Nice angle across inside clip and into outside zone 2. And here's where Pontus starts reeling him in. Almost doesn't give him enough room to transition there along the middle, but he ends up doing just that and staying right there with Victor Alves as they cross that finish line.
And now they're back at the start line, ready to go again. Pontus is now out front, and Victor Alves is ready to do chase. The screaming rotary of Pontus gets up on that bank, but there's Victor closing him in already, even going a little higher on the bank as they transition into that outer zone. And now right on the white line is Pontus, but look at that proximity from Victor as they transition now to that touch and go. And already putting the pressure on him. A little tap there as he gets on the door and across that line.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to call for the judges here as we go back to the replay. Victor out front. Oh, excuse me. They just... Am I getting an old replay here? Or am I backwards? Yeah, I believe it didn't record the second replay, unfortunately, there. So we'll watch the first one again. There you have it. Slide left for Victor Alves. Right for Pontus Jacobson.
And as I was mentioning earlier about the thumbs up animation, Victor actually has it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if his driver is doing that, but there it is. Left for Victor Alves. Victor Alves gets the win for the third place. He'll take home a podium win today, round 2.
Bravo to Victor.
Victor takes the win there. Lead to lead, they're both really solid jobs. Full marks to Pontus there on that second run. I imagine he was probably aware that he had a slight disadvantage going into that, and to his credit, just goes for max points run. Does come a little bit shallow on bank, and then also does miss out on clip 5 a little bit, but fair play to him, putting down a good show there for the end. It's just then chase to chase. Pontus just makes a little error on the bank, which ends up him being a few sort of, a little bit low on the bank, should we say. Then his car, 2 cars back, gets it back together though, and is back on it, but it's on the reverse of that. Victor is just on the door from the word go and does a really, really convincing job the whole way through. Does lose a little bit of ground coming through off clip 3 into 4, but again, that little RX-7 is clearly very fast there, and Victor does a great job buttoning it back up, coming into that last little sector, and great battle for third place. Well done to Victor.
So again, congratulations to Victor for that third place finish today. Mega drive from you all day long and everybody today. But now for our final battle, Alexander Element, Reese Tatterson, off they go. The last battle of round 2 here, the Virtual Drift Championships at Wall Stadium, as they initiate in and get right up on that guardrail coming around that bank. Reese is already closing in that gap as they transition now into that outer zone. A huge hit from Reese, almost sending Element offline. Element manages to control the car and bring it through that inside clip, and now transitioning to the touch and go. The proximity from Reese is just almost none as they come across that line.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to the replay here, we'll check out that contact coming into outside zone 2. Both settle in very nice to the bank. Reese on a little bit lower line there, hangs on to it, gives him room to transition here. Here they come into that, and yeah, a little tap up front to Element's car. He goes off track a little bit, but then gets right back to it and back in it. Here they come into that final inside clip, and they'll finish out the run, literally rubbing doors.
I don't think this is a battle anymore. I think it's a pure fight. As Reese Tatterson is now leading. Alexander Element giving chase. Reese Tatterson putting it way high up on the bank, but there's Element mimicking his angle perfectly as they come down that inside clip. Now snap to angle goes Reese Tatterson for that outside zone, but look at the proximity from Element as they come through that inside clip and transition to the touch and go. Element is not letting him go, staying on his door the whole way through that whole turn.
Yeah, he really did there. Last and final replay, I think, of the day. Entering in is Reese. Alexander a little bit low on the bank, but works himself back up into the pocket of Reese's door. Drops back for the transition there. And then, as you said, that just huge snap to angle from Reese Tatterson in that lead position. But I don't think it's going to be enough after the contact in run 1. And this aggression from Alexander Element in the chase position. Let's see, do we have a winner? Left for Alexander Element, right for Reese Tatterson, and there they go. starting to slide left. All of them slide left for Alexander Element. Congratulations to Alexander Element for his first win of the season here at round 2. We'll hear from the judges on why they went that way.
Okay, Element takes the win there. Obviously, lead to lead, they're both really solid leads. Although Reese was definitely going for some angle there coming into clip 3. Obviously, it comes down to that chase position. Reese just making a few little errors here and there, and Element just on his door from the word go. Element thoroughly deserves that. That was a fantastic piece of driving.
It certainly was well deserved there from Alexander Element, and taking home the win today. So number 1, Alexander Element. Number 2, Reese Tatterson. And then number 3, Victor Alves.
What an amazing day, what amazing battles we've had. And it just shows you what is coming up next. 8 rounds of the Virtual Drift Championship. 2 are already done, but we are hitting our little Christmas break or winter break, holiday break, whichever you'd like to call it. And then we'll be back in the new year, correct, Craig?
Yeah, we certainly will. As you said, just a short break over the holidays. I hope everybody has a wonderful holidays. I know I'm excited. Certainly you're excited. I hope you're getting something special this year, Tanner.
I hope so, too.
I'm sure we all want, a little something special, but remember those over, the next few days and over the holidays that aren't, that fortunate and probably won't be, getting anything for these holidays. So keep those, in your mind as well as we move through this tough holiday this year for 2020. But I know me and my family are going to try and make the best of it, and I hope everybody does as well.
Definitely, be humble. That's the easiest way to kind of just that whole thing was be humble.
Yes, be humble.
Season.
Yeah, be thankful for what you got. Absolutely. We want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Big numbers once again, so we appreciate everybody's support, especially sharing the stream out and getting your friends to join and come and hang out. Again, this has been round 2 here at Wall Stadium, New Jersey. Number 1, Alexander Element, right behind him, Reese Tatterson, and then that 3rd place, taking it home.
Make sure, if you guys haven't already, like and subscribe to our Facebook, or like and follow on our Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube. So that way you're notified every time we go live, in case you missed our notifications on Facebook. And we're also on Twitter as well, or Twitter, and Instagram as well.
Yeah, we certainly
Twitter?
are. No, we haven't jumped down the rabbit hole of Twitter yet, but that's okay. I don't think there's any need to. Nothing against Twitter or anything like that. But as you said, watch out for our YouTube, our Facebook, our Instagram. Stay in tune. We'll be showing off that Grip Royal Championship trophy very, very soon. And I again, just can't wait to show that thing off. Congratulations once again to Element. We thank everybody for the support. And we'll see y'all in 2021.